What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty. Join my Discord if you want to chat and share your thoughts, the link is in the description. 7's Chapter 134 Bloody. The huge wave that drowned the pirate era. Tyr, who flew out, deflected Shanks' domineering slash with his sword and let himself fall into the damaged warship. Clang. The wailing blade penetrated the warship deck, and Tyr knelt on one knee and spit out a mouthful of blood. Although he resisted, the damage caused by Shanks' dominance was not easy to bear. Teal. Daski's arms were shaking a little, and such a battle was beyond her reach. Although Tyr was feeling very uncomfortable, he still had a warlike smile on his face and stared at Shanks, who was also injured in the distance of the warship. The soldiers on the warship, including several colonels, fainted. Chisha and Dasky used the side of the ship as a wall to resist the impact. All they can do is attack from a distance. What's wrong, sword crazy woman? Tyr reluctantly stood up. Aren't you going to train Wajo into a black sword, and are you so scared? At this moment, he didn't forget to tease Dasky. Your injury, Lieutenant General Teal. Teal, your injury. Tyr didn't care at all about the blood at Exiled's feet and the flesh and blood visible to the naked eye on his back. At this time, Shanks was already furious. Except for Dusky and Chisha who were still conscious on the Tyrian ship, everyone else was knocked unconscious by conquerors. The warship was in pieces, as if it was about to explode at any time. You care about her, right? Shanks jumped into the air and appeared above Tyr's warship in an instant and stabbed Chisha with a knife. Teal was given almost no time to react and to prepare countermeasures. Flashing in front of Chisha, Tyr had no time to block Shanks' attack with his knife, and his body was already pierced by the tip of the knife. The pain of the blade being inserted into his abdomen stimulated Tyr's brain, causing him to instantly squeeze Griffin with his palm. Do you think I will let you succeed? Blood spilled from the corner of Tyr's mouth, and the hand of the sword god released conquerors, holding Shanks' knife to fight against him. No matter what, Teal will only respond with practical actions now. After discovering that he could not penetrate Tyr's abdomen, Shanks decisively pulled out the blade from Tyr's abdomen, raised the knife and slashed Tyr from top to bottom. Tyr also immediately put the black knife in front of him to resist. At the moment of the battle, Tyr found that his conquerors was actually crushed by Shanks. Another knife cut through the reverse scale of Tyr's sword god body, causing Tyr to take 2 steps back. What's wrong? The momentum with which you rushed towards my ship just now. Advertisement boom. Just as Shanks was about to taunt Tyr, the murderous aura that made him feel cold rushed out of Tyr's body. Being hit by 2 knives did not discourage Tyr, but he was even more powerful than before the battle began. You don't care about your partners, right? The 4 flying swords broke through the speed of sound and rushed over Shanks' red forth. The sword roared and trembled. Tyr personally reached out to control the weapon and closed his fingers for a moment. The flying sword began to rotate at high speed, producing strong airflow and vibration, causing violent sonic fluctuations above Shanks' main ship. Ah! The sound of swords filled the air with the sound of sharp knives, constantly attacking Shanks' companions on the boat, which caused Shanks to swing countless knives at Tyr. Under the shock of the sound of the sword, everyone in the Red Voss felt their blood boiling and their minds lost. The weak sailor exploded to death in an instant, and the officers used their domineering power to resist. How dare you? I'm just treating you the same way, why are you angry, redhead? Tyr was attacked, and the sound of the sword dissipated. Tyr kept blocking Shanks' attacks, his arms keeping pace with his sword swing. The collision of the blades produced sparks under the night sky, and it was the first time that Tyr saw Shanks fighting with all his strength. Ah! The collision of slashes became more and more intense, and Tyr began to let out a crazy war cry. This feeling of fighting constantly aroused the joy and excitement in his heart. Phew! Both of them had a scar on their chests at the same time. Shanks gritted his teeth and felt extremely uncomfortable. On the other hand, the expression on Tyr's face became more and more crazy and enjoyable. What is this? The thrill of fighting. Tyr's swing of the knife has reached a state of selflessness. Ha 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 ha. Tyr couldn't help but let out a crazy laugh. After being injured, Shanks discovered Tyr's abnormality and wanted to use his domineering force to repel him. However, they found that Tyr was even more unscrupulous, waving the blade wildly and exposing numerous flaws. Shanks, who found the flaw, struck quickly and cut a few more scars on Tyr's body. A total of about 13 cuts were made on Tyr's body, but when Tyr fell down, his expression showed fear for the first time. He felt scared for the first time after joining the 4 emperors, because when he competed with Tyr in swordsmanship, his body was slashed about 4 times. Advertisement Shanks, who does not have any devil fruit abilities, has absolutely no vitality compared to Tyr who has opened the body of the sword god. With adrenaline surging, Teal's eyes gradually turned red and his arms became stronger and stronger. This is what I'm looking for. The feeling of combat. Tyr laughed wildly and increased his strength to slash with his sword. Boom! Shanks almost failed to resist, and the deck of the warship under his feet almost collapsed. Tyr's strength was so great that when Shanks fought with him, he felt bone pain in his wrist. Ahem. Get out of here. Boom. Shanks' overlord aura exploded violently, and a griffin slash suddenly swung out from the griffin blade, knocking back the blood-covered Tyr for just a few meters. Are you going to run away, redhead? As soon as Shanks jumped out of the warship, he was intercepted by 4 flying swords. He defused Tyr again with a knife and returned to his ship. Rikiru, tell your friends to sail out and evacuate, quickly. Shanks returned to the ship and knelt on the ground. His friends couldn't believe the injuries on his body. Someone can face him at close range, unleash his full power, and hurt him in a sword fight. Ha ha ha, don't run away. The bloody Tyr stood on the deck of the warship, holding the black knife high in his right hand and screaming. God's damnation. With a thought in his mind, he inspired a large amount of sword energy to cut through the sea and attack the red foss. Damn it. Seeing this, Shanks had to get up and use his domineering energy to protect the hull again. You can't swing your sword energy to slash, boss. When Beckman saw Shanks trying to swing his sword energy, he stopped him immediately. The red-haired man himself almost forgot that Tyr could decompose sword energy. It seemed that the physical pain was causing him a lot of pain. The red aura burned Griffin's blade, and the moment the sword aura approached the red foss, Shanks flicked it into the sky with a single blow. The dignified 4 emperors are actually afraid of a marine lieutenant general. Do you want to run away? Tyr's face was full of mockery and provocation. My partner is dead, and the vice captain's arm is broken. Even I look half dead, how shameful. Then what kind of monster are you? I am the giant wave that will annihilate this pirate era. Sooner or later, I will annihilate all of you powerful pirates in it. For Teal today, this is his greatest ambition. Boom. Rikiru fired a domineering bullet at Tyr, but Tyr swung his sword horizontally and responded with a sharp sword wind. Chapter 135 Shanks escapes. Tony Chopper, seeing that the sword wind was about to cut off the mast, Snake held 2 swords in front of the mast. What kind of power is this? His arms trembled, resisting Tyr's sword wind. The sword wind was shattered by Snake's 2 swords and scattered in the air. Keep fighting. The red-haired pirates. When Ty was about to jump out towards their ship, an arm pulled Ty from behind. Vice Admiral. The red-haired pirates' large fleet. Tyr, who was trapped in his new artistic conception, suddenly came back to his senses and looked around at the sea around him, which had just occupied many of the Whitebeard pirates' pirate fleets. We are surrounded. Shisha was so frightened by Tyr's turning around that she collapsed to the ground. The bloody appearance and the expression full of desire for battle are very scary. A force under the red-haired pirates. Tyr turned around and looked at Shisha, who was afraid of him. Don't be afraid of me like this, Shisha. I will never hurt you. Including Dasky, who was sitting far away holding the blade, they all felt the strangeness of Tyr. Let her understand that if she comes into close contact with Tyr's battle, she will really be affected and die. Our soldiers called for reinforcements, but they haven't arrived after so long. Facing Tyr, who was so high-spirited and whose domineering energy had become extremely unstable, everyone was startled by his gesture. Given, Tail slapped Dasky and Shisha on their bodies. Then he suddenly raised his head towards the empty island in the sky. I'll come up to pick you up after I finish dealing with them. You are completely crazy. Shisha yelled after discovering Tyr's actions. Are you planning to face the red-haired pirates alone? Tyr did not respond to her. He only knew that their strength would become a burden to him if they stayed here. Seeing Tyr standing alone in the center of the boundless sea, surrounded by the pirate fleet, she covered her mouth. Only then did she understand that Tyr had never truly fallen and would always sacrifice himself to hunt down pirates. You don't want your partner anymore? Don't you care about your partner the most? The seriously injured red-haired man listened to Tyr's words as if the inheritance he followed had been broken. Give him cardiac arrest. Even if your comrades and subordinates die in front of you, you still have to run away. Tyr slashed with a large range of black swords and rushed towards the red-haired pirate fleet. The big boss was injured so seriously. Who is that blue devil? With that look, he could be the guy called the Marine Sword God. Is he the one who hurt the big boss? It's unforgivable. Boom. Advertisement. In just an instant, the ship that was cut in half rose into the sky. If no one stopped Tyr's attack, it would be a devastating disaster. Everyone retreat. Don't get close to that monster. Damn it, Shanks ordered, vomiting blood and was being treated by Baixiong, who had just stitched up Beckman's arm. What's wrong? Tyr stood on the warship where he was cut into 2 pieces by Shanks. Let me see the wrath of the 4 emperors in your mouth, redhead. After being seriously injured, Tyr was extremely eager to fight and wanted to kill the red-haired pirates no matter where he stood. With one man's power, he fully unleashed his fruit abilities and fought against the red-haired pirates and his large fleet at sea. The slaughter in the hail of bullets continued until Tell was completely exhausted and lay down on a broken plank of the ship, floating somewhere in the sea. In this battle, after being attacked by the Shanks pirates, he didn't know how many pirates under the red hair pirates he killed. The last remaining consciousness was only him and the wreckage of dozens of pirate ships. Tyr was lucky to be lying on the wooden board. He had been drifting for an unknown period of time, and the wooden board got stuck among the rocks on an island. The sea water hid Tyr's body, but did not wake Tyr from his coma. The wounds on his body were pale and swollen, so the two tribe on the island saved him. The unconscious Tyr was awakened by a piercing scream. He slowly opened his eyes, and his body, which had not eaten for about 3 days, seemed extremely heavy, weak. He stared at the flames in the bonfire with blurred vision. A group of round-bodied primitive people took a piece of newspaper and compared it with Tyr's photo, and then let out extremely horrifying screams. He is Luffy's murderer. A small, brown-haired man who looked like a reindeer pointed at Tell with great fear. He is the Straw Hat Crew's ship's doctor, Chopper, who is explaining the situation to the natives on the island. So, he is an enemy. The news that shocked the world in the newspaper made all the natives in the Bird Kingdom tremble, and fear. They couldn't believe that the dying boy soaked in seawater before them turned out to be the terrifying Marine who fought alone in the red-haired pirate group's fleet. Where am I? Taylor opened his eyes and glanced around with his head looking so tired and heavy as never before. Then what are you here for? How did you find this island? You be ******************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** for Chopper to go from fearful to serious. Do I still have the ability to kill? Looking at Chopper, who was covered in hair, the huge pain and scars all over Ty's body were enough to shock everyone present. P.S. Advertisement: his position is that of the Straw Hat cruise ship's doctor, while Tails' current actions in the world are to specifically hunt down the Straw Hat crew's marines. Now there are too few powerful people under the protagonist's command. He is the only one, and there is Fujitora, who has not yet become a general. He is Lieutenant General Marine. If we kill him, Marine will retaliate. Then why are you here? Chopper said, his hair trembling all over his body. I heard that your bounty is very valuable, Tony Chopper, Tyr said weakly and playfully to Chopper. Wait, isn't this guy? Chopper. No, this guy will definitely die soon without treatment. Diagnosis. You really came to capture me and take me to Marine to collect the reward, right? No. Chopper shook his head wildly as he observed the injuries on Tyr's body. He is an enemy with heinous crimes. He clasped his hooves together, leaving a gap to seriously observe the flaws in Tyr's body. The Straw Hat Boy is dead, Ty said weakly. Luffy. Chopper resisted extremely, and was extremely afraid as he watched Tyr sit cross-legged and stare at him without saying a word. His instinct as a doctor was calling him to treat the injured person in front of him, but his attitude was extremely disgusting to do such a thing to Tyr. You are a devil. Chopper hugged a wooden barrel woven with rattan to his side. He was so frightened that he mustered up the courage to yell at Tyr. Are you here to kill me? Chopper suddenly became serious, frowning and glaring at Tyr. As a result, only countless internal injuries and horrific scars on the skin were found all over Tyr's body. Another thought was to ask him to kill Tell. Shut up. Damn it. Chopper's serious look suddenly turned into tears. Damn it. Woo. I really can't do anything to the injured, warning. Tyr suddenly grinned, thinking that Chopper was too cute. This kind of creature happened to be able to speak human language. The moment he saw the sharp stone spear, he dragged his heavy body and quickly stood up. Blue Wave Ball brain strengthening. Hey, what should we do? Because Tyr killed his companions who were adventuring with him. After hearing what Teal said, he immediately nervously took out a yellow pill and stuffed it into his mouth and bit it. I don't know. Tyr answered Chopper truthfully, I fainted. Guys, I'm wondering if I want the knife. Zoro. Chopper, who was in a hurry, suddenly became busy, and one thought was asking him to treat Tyr, because Tyr was injured at this time. After Chopper finished the examination, he said to himself, no, if this injury is not treated, he will die. He must be treated quickly. No, he is the enemy. Chapter 136 Obtaining Drive. Chopper on the way back to Sword God Island from Guanji Island, the story of Tyr's fierce battle with the red-haired pirates' fleet spread throughout the world. The 4 emperors fled, the vice-captain lost his arm, and the marine sword god Tyr's death was unknown. Under the attack of Tyr's ability, more than half of the red-haired pirates' fleet was lost, and the fleeing pirates set off a riot in the New World. He doesn't know anything. Tyr's eyes were filled with anger as he looked at the crime that the Warring States period had assigned him in the newspaper. The forces under the red-haired pirates, who caused the rout, plundered various countries in the New World. In a straw hut room, Chopper couldn't bear to do anything to Tyr because he was seriously injured, so he decided to cure Tyr. You are a big bad guy. B****************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** Chopper asked Tyr, crying behind him. While crying, he stitched up and treated Tyr's wounds. He released an entire prison of pirates, and his crime is unpardonable. Tyr responded to Chopper, understanding that killing the Straw Hats would hurt him a lot. I'm going to poison your medicine and kill you, Chopper said firmly, but he still acted to heal Tyr. As a doctor, he would never do anything to the injured. The biggest evil of the Straw Hats is Luffy, but now that I have killed him, why do you bother? Seeing Chopper's sad look, Tyr felt a little sympathetic. A reindeer mistakenly eats the human fruit and becomes able to talk, learn like humans, and has particularly cute characteristics. It seemed to make Tyr feel that the previous killing was too decisive, and the essence of black and white justice was to eliminate all black. But in Tyr's eyes, there was no darkness in Chopper's body, and he was extremely white. Frankie, Brook, and Usopp are all black, and Sanji can be considered white. Now that Tyr thinks about it, he has become very scary after the war, too cold-blooded. He is the captain who is willing to take me in, mate. Chopper lowered his head with a sad look on his face, other than Luffy, who in this world would take in a talking reindeer, but I am called a monster by others. Me. Tyr turned around and took off Chopper's hat, then touched his deer head. Wouldn't it be better to join the righteous side, dedicate your medical skills to the world, and then develop a panacea to cure all injuries? Chopper was stunned when he heard Ty's very gentle words. You are really saying that? Besides Luffy, will anyone accept me? Luffy is dead. If Chopper can't find the meaning of continuing to be a pirate, he will decide to return to Dwarnang to take care of her. Advertisement: be a Christmas reindeer and support duo Niang until her old age. At least, if you are willing to follow me, I will protect you with my life. Tyr has never said this to a pirate. However, the exception was the creature in front of him that he found adorable. Chopper's eyes burst into tears. He couldn't believe that other than Luffy, anyone in the world would say such a thing to him. I need to treat you quickly, your body is already very serious, he cried and took out various medicines in his backpack. Coupled with the new treatment medicine developed in the Kingdom of Birds, Shen Shen cried and bandaged Ty quickly. I feel that my physical condition is very poor. Tyr couldn't feel his strength anymore and felt that his body had become very weak. It will take about a year for your body to return to normal, Chopper told Tyr clearly. He found that Tyr had too many new and old injuries, and he would definitely die if he continued to mess around. Next, I will go find Roronoa Zoro. The clear conviction in the newspaper made Tell understand. This time when I go back to Marine headquarters, I will definitely be forcibly imprisoned by Sengoku. It even made Tyr have murderous intentions towards the Warring States period. What does it mean to target him everywhere? He has always thought about the teacher-student relationship with the Warring States period, and has always been respectful to him. Could it be that after the Ding Shang War, the Warring States period did not regard him as a disciple at all? Tyr began to doubt it, and there was nothing wrong with believing that this was the case. Are you? After listening to Tyr's words, Chopper, who had been stunned for a long time, suddenly burst into tears again. Are you still going to kill Zoro? He is a good person. He stared at Tyr with his big, tearful eyes. Well, let's see how he behaves. If he just wants to pursue Luffy to death, there's nothing I can do, Chopper. Woo! After Chopper heard this, he burst into tears. Now he is mediating the relationship between the strange birds and the Shangba clan in this tribe. He has a very high status and is respected by all the people of the Shangba primitive tribe. However, when the time comes, I can look at your face and maybe spare him. Tyr's subordinates have too few combat capabilities, and there are even fewer who can follow them out to sea to fight against the four emperors. Advertisement: if you can make Zoro surrender, it will undoubtedly add a strong fighting power to him, and with training, he will definitely grow quickly. Real? Well, really, how about I take you there in person? Nico, Robin and Nami are also here. Weren't they killed by you? Are they still alive? Of course, but I don't know where it is now. Shisha and Dasky are both here, so they probably don't dare to do anything. Then when shall we set off? Chopper was eager to see his companions. I'll heal my injuries first. He stroked Chopper's deer head. The bare, furry hand felt very comfortable. It's hard for Tyr to believe that such innocent creatures really exist in such a world. But the facts were right in front of Tyr's eyes, and Chopper's excited expression of anticipation couldn't wait any longer. I will cure you. You have no disease and your body is stronger than ordinary people. You will recover soon. He was full of energy and began to devote himself to Tyr's injury. Pure white. Seeing Chopper agreeing to him, Tyr looked at him with eyes wide open. Even the current Tyr, including many officers within Marine, will not appear pure white, and it is impossible for Tyr himself to be white now. He is a delicate gray, mixed between black and white to find the truth. Looking at Tyr's appearance, Chopper frowned and said seriously, don't be too happy too early. B******************. D. I don't fully trust you yet. That's great. The pure affection and sincerity between animals, the kindness and original intention that are simply invisible in human nature. So kind even to his sworn enemies. If a creature like Chopper was really loyal to Tyr, he would protect him at all costs. 3 days later, Tyr couldn't stay on the island for too long, and he immediately decided to take Chopper with him before he recovered from his injuries. Under Chopper's careful treatment, Tyr was able to exert about 40% of his strength. Chapter 137 Arrival at Codename Island under a clear sky, with the sea 1 meter away in the air. Chopper asked the strange birds in the bird kingdom to give them a ride. From South Blue, fly to the island where Eagle Eye of the Grand Line is located, Codename Island. Is it really possible to meet Zoro? Chopper, who was sitting in front of the bird-backed Tyr, looked back at Tyr and found that Tyr's deep eyes were particularly gray. Faced with Chopper's question, Tyr instantly regained his smile and looked down at him. As long as he doesn't leave, he will definitely be on that island. I hope. You don't want to die, roar Noah Zoro, Tyr thought to himself. Now that Shisha's words have awakened him, he will no longer kill innocent people indiscriminately. But if Zoro vows to protect Luffy's oath and agreement to the death, then Tail will lock him up and slowly tame him. 40% of the strength is enough to deal with today's Zoro, even redundant. Hey, Tony Chopper. Tyr gently called Chopper by his full name. For a cute and capable creature like you, please stop being a pirate, okay? Cute. B*********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** scolded Tyr shyly. I was very happy that Tyr defeated him like this. But, the agreement between me and Luffy. I want to become stronger for him, but he has been killed by you, woohoo. Chopper's behavior of crying and getting into Tyr's arms made Tyr feel shocked, but he didn't blame himself at all. The kind of guy who spreads pirate beliefs will not be able to make up for his sins even if he dies 10,000 times. What made it hard for him to believe was that after less than 2 months of love, Chopper was so obsessed with thinking about the dead Luffy. You really have a changeable personality. You were shy just now, and immediately started crying again. Tyr teased Chopper with a grin. **hole. I want you to take care of me, I'm feeling sad." After Chopper scolded Tyr angrily, he suddenly became frightened again. "You really don't know how to kill Zoro? I think he is a good man. Before you met him, I gave him my weapons to use. Marine provides weapons to pirates. Why? He wanted to compete with Hawkeye. Unfortunately, the weapons could not make up for his strength at the time, and he was still defeated by Hawkeye." Chopper looked at Tyr's waist and found that there was no weapon at all. "What about your weapons?" After the battle, Tyr's weapons were left in the sea. I saw him stretching his palms into the air, and the sword energy flow condensed on his palms. About 10 minutes passed, and Tyr did sense the existence of the weapon, but it had not yet reached his hand. "What are you doing?" Chopper was a little confused about Tyr's behavior. "Bring the weapon back." Advertisement? Hey, is there such a cool move? Chopper was looking forward to it. Until 5 black shadows came from the horizon, and Ty's 5 weapons flew in a row from New World and stood in the air behind him. The black knife is in the center of Tyr's head, the C position among the 5 weapons. First generation Kitetsu and Ryu are on the left and right sides of the black sword, and Sakuraju and Kuku are on the outermost side. "So handsome, you." Chopper's eyes sparkled with excitement. "Can I do it?" "I don't know, what is your Renren fruit?" Tyr asked. "It's just that I can become like a human being, speak, stand." "Well, isn't it really in the form of ordinary people?" "Then you can't." "Damn it." Chopper felt disappointed and lay down with his hooves on the back of the strange bird. Gah! The strange bird found the gloomy island ahead and called out to Chopper. "Here we are. Is Zoro on that island?" "Hawkeye, this is the thing that Tails is most worried about during this trip, and that is Hawkeye himself." "Well, that's right. Okay, Mr. Strange Bird, stop when you reach the shore of the island. Thank you." The strange bird nodded, willing to see Chopper off. Arriving at the south blue shore of Krygon Island, they jumped off the back of the strange bird. Chopper waved goodbye to the departing strange bird. "That's right, there are 3 oars. Roronoa Zoro is here." The first thing he did when he landed on the island was to use the color detection method. There are only 3 human scents on the entire island. This island is like the Devil's Triangle, so eerie. "Let's go." Tyr took Chopper into the forest, and many bats immediately fled from Tyr. This is the last of the Straw Hat crew. After doing this, Tyr will be punished by the Warring States period when he returns to Marine, causing a war between Marine and the 4 emperors, and becoming the sinner of the war. He will be imprisoned by the Warring States period and will give an explanation to all the countries in the New World. After the red-haired defeat, he no longer tried to hide it. The pirates under his command continued to cause trouble in the New World and launched plunder on various islands. Advertisement: Kraikana Island, Kingdom Ruins Castle. The Eagle's Eye immediately detected a landing on the south blue shore. He was outside the castle window corridor, looking above the dark jungle where crows were flying everywhere. "Here we come, Roronoa." Zoro, who was being taught swordsmanship by Hawkeye, didn't know what Hawkeye was talking about at this moment. "What's coming?" "That marine brat, but his aura is more than half weaker than before." When Zoro heard this, he immediately put down his book and picked up his weapon, taking the matter very seriously. "This is my business, Hawkeye, and I hope you won't interfere." Zoro put on the feather fabric he bought at Seagull Express, took his 3 knives and walked into the dark jungle outside the castle. No matter what the outcome, he didn't want to hurt others anymore. If the news is true, Perona floated behind Hawkeye, looking at Zoro as he left. How could he win by force? As a master, won't you stop him, hey? The man who knelt down and begged the enemy to teach him swordsmanship for the sake of the captain was now invisible to Hawkeye. Leave a man's affairs to the man himself, and I'm not his master. Hawkeye behaved very indifferently towards Zoro, who left. To him, Zoro was just a whim, and he wanted to train a swordsman who could compete with him. In a vast flat area in the jungle, Tell fought with a group of baboons armed with knives. Help! Chopper hugged his thigh and yelled in fear. The weapons in the hands of the baboons were cut off by Tell one by one, causing them to dare not approach Tell anymore. The reason why ordinary people can't get close to this island is because you guys exist. The strength of every baboon is no less than that of Brigadier Marine. Seeing that all his men were defeated, the king of baboons personally came to Tyr carrying a huge weapon exactly like Hawkeye. Do you want to try too? Feeling the difference in strength between him and Tyr, the king of baboons took out the blade from his back and placed it on the ground to admit defeat. Oh, he called to Tyr several times. Huh? Chopper instantly understood what it was saying. He actually said that he wanted you to let go of his kind and that he would not fight with you. Yeah, that's fine. If you don't go with what I want, I'll kill you. Tyr retracted the blade. As we prepared to head to the castle ahead, we found Zoro running from the jungle path. Chapter 138 Roronoa Zoro bows. Zoro. Chopper immediately jumped off Tyr's lap and ran towards Zoro with tears in his eyes. Chopper. What's going on? Zoro was surprised. Why was Chopper on Tyr's lap? Chopper. You weren't hurt, were you? Zoro picked up Chopper and showed concern for him. He didn't do anything to you, right? No, Zoro. Where are the other partners? Nami, Robin, Frankie, how are they doing? Chopper, are they still alive? Chopper could not express his sadness in words at this time. Everyone is dead. Except Robin and Nami, everyone else is dead, ooh. Tyr did not interrupt the conversation between the two, and stood there with the knife in hand, watching them quietly. Why? Veins popped out on Zoro's forehead. He put Chopper on the ground behind him and walked towards Tyr. Why did you give me the weapon in your hand? I'm very interested in you, Roronoa Zoro, Tyr replied calmly. Why didn't you kill us then? You knew we were pirates. Seeing Zoro pressing closer and closer, Tyr felt from him that his strength was significantly improved compared to before. The instinct between swordsmen can tell the difference even without fighting. You weren't considered pirates at that time, Zoro couldn't argue. When they were at the East China Seabarati restaurant, they didn't even have a bounty, a pirate ship, or a pirate flag. They were indeed not considered pirates. That guy is waiting and watching, isn't he planning to take action? Tyr glanced at the eagle eye standing at the window of the castle in the distance. Looking at him and Zoro over glasses of wine. Speak directly, Roronoa Zoro, I'm here to ask you a question. Ah, Straw Hat Luffy is dead, what are you going to do next? This can be regarded as a questioning of Zoro's soul, allowing him to reconsider now that he doesn't know how to choose a path. Consider it very carefully. Tyr did not use his partner's words before his death to stimulate him and let him make his own choice. Let Luffy become king. But he is gone. Zoro pulled out the blade. No matter what, I can't forgive you for what you did to my partner. What's your answer? Seeing Zoro draw his sword, Tyr suddenly felt very sorry. Continue to pursue my path of swordsmanship until then. Before that, do you want to avenge your dead comrades? Tyr interrupted him and said what he wanted to say. Advertisement then, he took steps toward him with a knife. Tyr's shadow is like a Shinigami. Every step closer makes Zoro feel pressure, irreparable pressure. Zoro. Nami and Robin are still alive, do you really want to fight to resolve it? I am the vice captain of the Straw Hat Pirates. The captain and my companions were killed by the marine in front of me, so of course I have to carry out my final responsibility. Excuse me, the game of Pirate House is over. I'll give you 2 ways, Zoro. Purgatory. Hedao Yuen bit his mouth. Zoro crossed his sword with both hands and struck, Ghost Slash. Slashing with domineering power, he stepped forward and charged, quickly approaching Tyr. First, Taylor raised his right arm and put it in front of him. Boom. Zoro slashed 3 knives on the blade of Tyr's black knife, but Tyr intercepted it with one hand. Blocked again. Why? Zoro didn't understand when he saw Tyr blocking the upgraded version of Ghost Slash with one arm again. Even though you have been practicing for half a year, you still can't fight with the man in front of you who is covered with bandages and scars all over his body. Be captured by me as a pirate, Tyr said the first way. As a pirate, he can no longer live like a normal person. I will never surrender, Zoro said firmly to Tyr. In an instant, he was knocked back by Tyr's knife and was gliding on the ground. Zoro stabilized his body and put Wado Ichimonji back into the scabbard. Third generation Kitetsu and Shisui also sheathed their swords at the same time. He made an EI move, aimed at tail, and started to charge up. Article 2. Tyr concentrated and focused on the joints of Zoro's arms. EI's moves are as fast as lightning, and you'll be hit hard if you're not careful. Follow me and continue to pursue your path of swordsmanship. I will slowly erase your identity as a pirate. Tyr needs strong subordinates, and there is no such person in Marine. Ah, Zoro couldn't believe that Tyr said such a thing. Although he didn't want to be shaken, now that Luffy was dead, there was still the goal he had agreed with his childhood friend in the castle behind him. Become the world's greatest swordsman, and let your name resound throughout the heavens. Choose. Taylor let the black sword float, choosing first-generation Kitetsu and holding it in his hand. The third-generation Kitetsu and the first-generation Kitetsu around Zoro's waist instantly resonated. Nito Ryu Ei Shishigej. Advertisement. The moment he shouted out the name of the move, Tyr also disappeared from the spot at the same time as him. The confrontation of moves caused a riot in the air. The swords and lights intertwined, and the two people's positions were exchanged. A battle scar was cut on Zoro's chest, and blood spattered out. Zoro. Seeing that Zoro was injured, Chopper immediately ran to Tyr and hugged his legs. Teal, didn't you promise me not to kill Zoro? You be asterisk 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 D. Don't break your promise. Blocked. How is this possible? Zoro spurted another mouthful of blood. At that moment, he couldn't believe that Tyr could accurately avoid his lightning-fast EI and cut a scar on his chest. EI was the fastest to draw his sword, and being easily cracked made him feel the real gap between him and Tyr. Tyr's slashes crossed with Hawkeye's scars. I've shown mercy, Chopper. Huh? Zoro's chest is bleeding, because Tyr knows that if Zoro is killed now, Chopper will not follow him to Marine. The awakened Tyr will no longer kill indiscriminately. What Chopper said. Zoro was wounded and turned to look at Tyr and asked, is it true? Are Nami and Robin really still alive? Stay alive. Maybe you can work together under me then, in the name of justice. Zoro, who never thought he would do anything for Marine, now has no choice. Between the two paths of life and death, he could only choose one. Or die carrying Luffy's faith. Either continue the agreement with the dead friend and achieve the goal of the world's greatest swordsman, alive. Stop fighting. Chopper bit Tyr's leg, otherwise I won't forgive you. The pain caused by the bite was just an itch for Tyr, so he ignored Chopper. Instead, he looked into Zoro's eyes. If I die, will you spare Nami, Robin, and Chopper? Zoro thought that Tyr captured them and wanted to publicly execute them. No, Tell noticed Zoro's misunderstanding and pretended to say, if you die, I will kill them too. So, are you going to live and work for me, or are you going to die bearing these heavy responsibilities? Perhaps it would be good to experience all kinds of life. Zoro put away his two swords, knelt on the ground and kowtowed and said in a pleading tone, please, don't kill the remaining people. I am willing to use my life to exchange for their safety. You don't need to kneel down, roar Noah Zoro, you just need to do a good job under me from now on. Tyr helped him up with his flying sword. Turn around and walk towards the coast. Is this the so-called consciousness of the deputy captain? He is willing to sacrifice himself for his partners. Tyr was surprised by Zoro's surrender, and he was very grateful to Chisha for waking him up, otherwise Zoro might have been killed by that blow. Chapter 139 Sakazuki ascends the throne. Punk Hazard. Dawn on the 10th day of the Marine Fleet Admiral battle. This abandoned scientific experiment island has now become a permanent gaseous phenomenon of ice and fire. One side of the island has turned into a glacier, and the other side is boiling high-temperature seawater. The fierce collision from the center continued. Akainu and Aokiji are almost evenly matched in their ability to restrain each other's elements. The battle that lasted for 10 days and 10 nights came to its final moment. In the middle of the island where the sounds of battle echoed, the elemental fists of Akainu and Aokiji fought fiercely. The two men had already been stained crimson with sweat and blood, but there was no hint of flinching in their eyes. It seems that your strength does not allow you to take over as the new coach, Kuzan. Akainu exploded with strength and knocked back the exhausted Aokiji with one punch. Under the pressure of Akainu's power, when he staggered back, Akainu's lava fist turned into a fist of hell, opened the magma mouth and broke the staggering Aokiji's left leg with one blow. Aokiji felt his left leg lose feeling, and his extremely exhausted body fell to the ground with a plop. This blow was like a thunderbolt from the clear sky, causing Aokiji to completely lose the strength to stand. Everything below his left leg was eroded by magma and turned into a pitch-black color of ash. Akainu, who was like a scarlet magma demon, walked up to him, unbuttoned his body and looked down at Aokiji. The physical skills taught to you by the hero Garp are really not easy, Kuzan. Unwilling to accept it, Aokiji could no longer move. Even raising his arms was extremely difficult for him. You lost. Akainu said coldly to Aokiji, the highest honor of Marine is mine. Seeing Aokiji's appearance, Akainu lost his cold and ruthless face. Kill or behead whatever you want. The battle for Fleet Admiral was originally a life or death duel between the two of them, but Akainu couldn't take action against his comrades who once fought side by side. Having said that, there is no hatred between us, Akainu said, his chest rising and falling rapidly, it's just that we have different ideas. Isn't it inappropriate for a cold-blooded B***************** D to talk about these things now? In the heart of Aokiji, Akainu is so cold-blooded that he can lose any life, but he also wants to completely eradicate evil, whether it is civilians or comrades in arms. Advertisement. The current scene made him feel shocked. Unexpectedly, Akainu did not kill him directly, but chose to solve the problem through negotiation. When I become Fleet Admiral, I hope you will be my assistant. Akainu continued to speak what was in his heart. Marine currently lacks strong combat effectiveness. It would be a pity for him to kill Aokiji. Aokiji fell silent and did not respond immediately to Akainu. He didn't want to work under Marine under Akainu's rule. This is justice. It's different from your ridiculous ideas. To eliminate evil in the world, many innocent people must be sacrificed. This is. Akainu vented the justice in his heart. It is inevitable. Stop talking. Contact the headquarters and announce it. Aokiji closed his eyes. I can finally take a break after 10 long days. Well. Akainu saw that Aokiji was injured and fell asleep, so he stopped trying to persuade him. He really hoped that Aokiji would listen to what he just said. Shortly after, the two people who returned to Marine fandom stood in the Sengoku office. Did it still fall into his hands? The news of Akainu's victory undoubtedly marked the end of the heyday that he personally forged for the Warring States period. Whether it is the Shichibukai, the Four Emperors, or the various pirates from the New World who were weakly settled by the Warring States period, they will not be recognized after Akainu takes over. Teal hasn't contacted me for half a month, Warring States said. If you want to convict him for no reason, how could he come back? Akainu immediately refuted Sengoku's words. For no reason? Sengoku stood up and came to Akainu with a piece of paper and patted him. See for yourself. The red-haired pirates have completely gone berserk and plundered the New World. After you take over, contact him to come back. The future affairs will be left to you juniors, ha ha ha. The news of Sengoku's retirement and the new Marine Fleet Admiral's appointment was quickly publicized by reporters from world government, Marine, and the press. A burning island village. I want to do what I want to do, can't I? I can't see my future in Marine anymore. All preparations for abdicating the throne have been made during the Warring States period. The most important thing is that Aokiji feels that after resigning, he will not be able to be as casual as before. Absolute justice has become the main belief within Marine. Other small groups of doves have suppressed Marine as a whole and dare not make a sound. It was Colonel Mouse who did it. Damn it, how could Marine do this? Advertisement here. It is common for Marines to collude with pirates. Ah. Akainu's eyes were startled after hearing this. He walked up to him with a cigar in his mouth and pinched his collar. Even if I resign, I don't know what else to do. If I accidentally become a pirate, I'm afraid I will be chased to death by that brat, right? Zoro and Chopper on his shoulder looked at Tyr, asking the injured villagers about the situation. Don't make people sweat profusely all of a sudden, you little brat. Warring States yelled at him. In order to avoid being imprisoned by the Warring States period, Tyr came to the East China Sea from the Grand Line, the most corrupt sea area in the Marine Corps. How many people can climb to the position of Marine General? Can't see the future. Aokiji's words were like thunder hitting the heads of all the civil servants in the office. Aokiji suddenly thought of something. Alala. I just said it casually, it doesn't count. The dissatisfaction of various countries and the pressure from the world government made Sengoku feel that abdicating was not a bad thing. Now that the sea is in chaos, do you want to become a pirate? Or should you stabilize the rampant people and establish a new order like the Revolutionary Army? Aokiji on the side remained silent. The loser had no right to speak. I'm going to resign. So what? Isn't it the essence of a pirate? No matter how he pretended before, he will eventually reveal his evil side. What can you do if you resign? Akainu's enthronement ceremony was held in New World, New Marineland. Moreover, he is still a loser who came back alive. What are you going to do if you resign? He has never acted so leisurely that he has forgotten an extremely unbalanced era that he personally shaped, and this era has gone crazy. The loss of control of such a level of combat power makes people extremely vigilant anywhere in the sea. East China Sea. Is the world's strongest fighter resigning? Colonel Mouse? Speaking of Tyr, Sengoku smiled at Akainu. He often comes to the village to force military pay. Now that we don't have Bailey to hand over, he has colluded with pirates who have a good relationship with him and are protected by his power to come and destroy our village. Haha. Seeing Akainu's reaction, Sengoku smiled instead. The enthronement ceremony will be held in 2 days. You can personally manage these things. Chapter 140 Eliminating Corruption, 16 Marine Branch Base. It's not uncommon for Marines to collude with pirates. Because some Marine officers have discovered that pirates can bring them huge benefits and lead a better life. They just need to turn a blind eye. I see. I saw Tyr stretching out his hands to the fire in the village, which made Zoro and Chopper feel bad. Hey, you can't. Boom. With a gentle wave of his arm, countless warm sword energies destroyed all the cold flames in the village. This was not the first time that Tyr felt that the flame was cold. The terrifying destructive power of the sword energy has become the hope of appeasing the villagers on the island at this moment. The villagers who had not yet been killed by the flames set off by the pirates were all rescued instantly when Tyr took action. Tyr's destructive power can not only kill black, but also save countless exquisite greys. Civilians are neutral in his eyes, because pirates and marines are both created by civilians. By the way, which branch is Colonel Rat's branch? Tell asked the villagers. Since they know Colonel Mouse, they must know the branch base he is in charge of. Branch 16. After getting the information about the villagers in the sea map, Tyr immediately set off, summoning a flying sword and taking Zoro and Chopper with him. He can now float in the air without a sword, but his speed is not as fast as standing on a flying sword. Cloud. The countless stretching clouds in various shapes looked like cotton candy in Chopper's eyes, but he couldn't grasp them with his tentacles. As a marine, do you want to kill Marine yourself? Zoro asked Tyr curiously. After several days of getting along, he couldn't see clearly what kind of person Tyr was. A corrupt marine is no longer a marine. Tyr responded to Zoro. That's right. Then can I go back to Shimotsuki village? Shimotsuki village, this made Tai think of something important. Monkey D. Long personally visited this island many years ago, and they are probably also related to the Revolutionary Army. Let me ask you something, Zoro. What, did the leader of the Revolutionary Army visit Shimotsuki village many years ago? Well, I was still learning swordsmanship in the dojo at that time. What happened? Advertisement, nothing, let's do business first. The Revolutionary Army has been wiped out, and no force will be born in Shimotsuki village. Tyr can relax and do what he wants to do now. That is to make all Marines in the East China Sea realize how terrifying he is. In his opinion, the power of a lieutenant general is not high, but he has the power to decide the Sahai branch and officers below the general level. Even if you kill him on the spot, you won't be blamed. About half an hour later, Tell arrived and sat on the mast of a warship docked on the coast of the 16th branch base island. Just stay here, Zoro. Your status as a pirate is not suitable for participating. Learn. Tyr jumped down and landed on the deck, letting the child cleaning the warship poke his eyes. Did I suffer from the sequelae of being beaten yesterday? He is. Sword God. Why is he here? Ignoring these miscellaneous soldiers and children, Tell walked down the steps of the warship and entered the small town of the branch. Walking to the street, Tyr found that the townspeople here were suffering from oppression, and the numb expression on their faces seemed to be used to them. I haven't had a drink in several days. Walking into a tavern, Taylor came to the bar chair and touched himself as usual. Penniless. Hey kid, are you Marine? The boss looked at the letters on Tyr's clothes and subconsciously thought he was Marine. Tyr looked at the walls of the store. They were all filled with bounty orders for pirates and bandits worth no more than 10 million. Is something wrong with Marine? Taylor smiled, but he didn't expect that there are still people who don't recognize him. This is undoubtedly a good thing. Recruit? The boss was surprised. Marine drinks and eats here without spending any money. Great, I happen to be a little thirsty. Ahem. The boss gritted his teeth and was disgusted, even a little angry, but he didn't dare to show it in front of Teal. Mr. Marine, what kind of wine do you like to drink? Sydney. Taylor waved his finger to the drunkard behind him and held a bottle of Sydney in his hand. It was very heartbreaking to see the smashed shop, but I had to compromise in the face of death. Who are you? How did a guy like you become a colonel? You colluded with pirates for profit. Sword God. He is the Marine Sword God who recently single-handedly defeated the red-haired pirate group's fleet in New World. Advertisement. After a while, Mouse himself led a group of soldiers to stand on the street outside the tavern, fully armed. Yes. Sir Lieutenant General. Lord Sword God. Seeing that Tyr was going to publicly execute him, the Mouse immediately panicked. Don't kill me, I'm Marine, aren't we partners? Two sailors on patrol came to the tavern with weapons in hand and issued a warning to Tell, who was yelling in the tavern. Huh, here you go. Taylor turned around and sat on the bar chair with his legs crossed, staring at the panicked Mouse. You really look like a mouse. You are as cunning, even despicable. He recognized Tell immediately. With a casual blow, Tyr smashed the sailor onto the wine table without daring to use too much force. How dare you insult Colonel Mouse on this island? Are you tired of living? Ah. Acrobatics. Tail laughed at himself. The matter quickly spread to the 16th branch base. It's really interesting. Someone dares to run wild on my territory. Let's go in and take a look. Lieutenant General. Why would a big shot like you come to the East China Sea? Who are you? The tavern owner was too frightened to move. After all, the East China Sea is a sea area that is not even known for its hegemony. Its overall strength level is low, and its technology is also very backward. I am Lieutenant General of Marine Headquarters, and I came here specifically to clean up the scum inside. Taylor pinched the back of Colonel Mouse's neck. All right. Everyone in Marine has his own unique way of dressing up, and he clearly remembers all the people he shouldn't mess with. He was not surprised to see the panicked expressions of the boss and other guests. Tyr, who didn't want to say anything, stood up and walked to the mouse. The pressure brought by his 2-meter height almost made the mouse suffocate. After drinking some wine, Taylor soon started pretending to be drunk in the tavern. "I'm Marine. How did you do it? Then just ask him to come see me." Directly in front of everyone, he summoned the black knife on the cloud into his hand, and then placed it on the head of Colonel Mouse. The ability to absorb people from the air frightened another sailor, and he immediately fled to the branch to ask for support. Boom! Pushing open the door of the tavern, Mouse trembled the moment he saw the letters, Marine, behind Tyr's white shirt. Tell grabbed the gun in a soldier's hand from the air and dragged him forcefully in front of him. "That's right, it's me." Tell responded to the townspeople, "How this guy is going to die is up to you to decide, and I will give you the power to kill him." The evil deeds were exposed by Tell with one word, causing the mouse to turn around and want to escape, but Tell instantly locked the back of the neck and walked towards the street outside the 16th branch base. A man who looked like a rat and was 182 centimeters tall led 2 soldiers into the tavern aggressively. Chapter 141 New Malinfondo Conference. Shall we decide, Colonel Mouse? No, he will kill us. But if it is released by the Marine Headquarters Lieutenant General himself, there should be no problem, right? For a while, the townspeople couldn't adapt and couldn't even believe that such an opportunity would arise. Personally decide the life or death of Colonel Mouse. We suffered too much oppression. Having paid half of your income tax for so many years, aren't you bullying us? The emotions of the townspeople were instantly ignited upon seeing them. You inferiors. Colonel Mouse was extremely angry. He didn't expect that he would end up like this. Before he could say the words, his hands were bound by Tyr's sword energy and his legs were loosened. I'm being fair. I didn't execute you myself. I left it to others to decide your life or death. It can be said that the townspeople of Branch 16 have hated Colonel Laoshu for a long time, and have even reached the point of uprising. Hey! Colonel Mouse looked at the townspeople who had great hatred for him and approached him with various weapons. Don't be like this. Save me, Lieutenant General Teal. They will skin me alive. All the soldiers he brought trembled and did not dare to move under Tyr's gaze. I want you all to watch how I deal with corruption, Teal said to all the Marine soldiers. You scum. You beast. The townspeople gathered around the mouse. First, he complained to him, and then he slashed at him wildly with a weapon. Ah, no, I was wrong, Lieutenant General. There were sticks, knives, axes, various farm tools and other weapons, all of which were swung at the rats, letting all the grievances they had accumulated over the years flow out. After just a few seconds of struggling, Colonel Mouse became silent. What was left was countless flesh and blood splattered into the air, which shocked all the soldiers who saw it. It's like it's their turn next moment. It also allowed Tyr to see for the first time how much the civilians in this world hate the corrupt military. Without power and strength, they can only suffer from corruption all their lives. They wanted to share the food with Colonel Mouse. Okay, disperse. Taylor stepped forward, and the townspeople who had finished venting were a little afraid and dispersed automatically. All that was left in the center of the crowd was a corpse that looked like dregs of flesh. Whoever dares to be like him will be like him in the future, do you understand? Understood. Lieutenant General. Advertisement, the soldiers shouted in fear, thinking that this was how things would end. Tyr suddenly spoke. Okay, let's start, townspeople. Anyone who has personally beaten or killed you will be found from the army and imprisoned for life. This cleanup of corruption lasted for a whole day. Early the next morning, Teal received a printed newspaper from the headquarters. Sitting in the office of the 16th branch base, Teal clenched his fists while looking at the contents of the newspaper. The newspapers were crumpled by him. It's finally here. Sengoku abdicated, Marine's new fleet Admiral Sakaski ascended the throne, and released a major news to the world. That is the world recruitment, a recruitment message measured by strength. The assembly is complete. More than 20 million level pirate groups. Tyr. Chopper came to Tyr with intelligence documents and reported. It was difficult for him to believe that some people from the Straw Hats could live under his knife and do things in his hands. It feels good too. I must support you until you die, teacher. Teal. You. What's wrong? Chopper was frightened by the horrifying expression on Tyr's face. Taylor shook his head and adjusted. It's nothing. Show me the information quickly. They have all gathered to the north of the island. Ask Zoro to go there. After all, he needs to be trained. Tyr came to the window with the love documents and newspapers and looked at Zoro, who was frightened by the Marines on the playground below. In the East China Sea, Zoro's reputation as a pirate hunter is very popular. Go and report to Zoro and ask him to annihilate them. Tyr ordered Chopper. Remember, leave no one behind. So cruel. They are pirates who are plundering everywhere in the East China Sea and squeezing countless civilians. Do you still feel pitiful like this? Okay, I'll go right away. Chopper left the office. Ask Baloo Maber to be the base commander here. it's time for me to go back. After the information was conveyed to Zoro, it only took one morning to destroy the 20 pirate ships in the north, including their hulls. Akainu ascended the throne, and Tyr felt there was no need to spend time here. 2 days later, Tyr took Zoro back to the Visalia Sky Island above Sword God Island to reunite with Robin and Nami. Heeding Akainu's call, he decided to go back to Malinbondo. Aren't you going, Yishao? Advertisement in a casino on Jianshen Island. Taylor stood behind him with a barbecue and watched a blind man gamble, and suddenly found it very interesting. No, I already like this island. The world's great recruitment recruits people directly based on their strength. Taylor tempted him. Having controlled the island you built for so long, I discovered that the justice I want is not a position, Lord Tyr. Haha, if you want to work under me, you must obey my orders. Fujitora is in charge, and no one dares to invade Sword God Island these days, and he manages it in an orderly manner. This is also necessary, Lord Sword God. Tyr thought it was okay. Together with himself, Sword God Island had 2 general-level combat capabilities and was not afraid of any force on the sea. Hundreds of huge warships are anchored on the coast of New Marineland, and countless reporters are taking photos, showing the world the combat effectiveness and deterrence of Marine. This is something that will never happen when the Warring States period comes to power, unless there is a huge event similar to a top war. Tall and solid defense, the new Marine fortress building towers into the clouds, like an insurmountable barrier rooted in the center of New Marineland. The architectural grandeur takes up almost the entire island. Seagulls screamed and flew over the new Marine headquarters, the new Fleet Admiral mansion under the clear sky. Tyr was beating his back for Sengoku. Why are you looking at me like this, teacher? Oops, there's a mosquito here. He tapped an acupuncture point on Sengguo's neck in front of everyone. Hiss. Warring States was so painful that he pushed Tyr away with his backhand. What did you do? I didn't do anything, teacher. Sengoku frowned. There was a cold feeling on his neck and back, which made him feel very comfortable. Undetectable dark energy penetrated his skin and rushed into his body. Like a poison, Tyr didn't dare to take too much. You've been hiding from me for almost a month, and I haven't even done that to you yet for irritating the red-haired pirates. You still have to count, aren't you worried about my injuries? Teal's injuries from that battle have not fully recovered to this day. If anything happens to you, can you still be alive and kicking in front of me? Tyr held his head high and stared at Sengguo's face with calm eyes that looked at the dead. Some people can't believe that he dares to approve any news to be released to the sea. In your eyes, what kind of person am I, a mission tool, or what? Chapter 142 Murderous Intention, Master and Apprentice Break Up. You. At this moment, Sengguo's eyes were scattered, and he couldn't tell what Tyr was in his heart. A soldier who is particularly efficient in his mission, or... He suddenly realized that he had neglected and ignored too many of Tyr's filial piety and gifts to him over the years. Okay. Akainu shouted while sitting in the Fleet Admiral chair. Telephone. This time I asked you to come back because the government issued an order. What order? Tell sat down on his lieutenant general's seat and stopped messing with Warring States. After voting, everyone, the Hawks, feels that you should be promoted to Marine General. Your record is fully qualified to be promoted to Marine General. What about a rare talent? Your current strength is probably above everyone else, right? It's not an exaggeration to say that Marine is the strongest, right? Thank you for your care, Senior Lieutenant Generals. The battle on the top of the war was okay, and the power tier showed shocked the world. Today, repelling the red-haired pirates known as the Iron Wall Pirates alone has to be convincing. The deeds of Tyr's Sword God have spread throughout the entire Marine Corps, and it is not an exaggeration to call it a Marine legend. But only he knows that once his strength reaches a peak, he will no longer climb up. The battle between the strong is to see who reveals his flaws first, and whose skills and combat experience are superior. Whether he is called the Sword God or the Legend, it is just because the events he experienced have spread widely around the world. It's not easy, Tyr. It's been really hard for you along the way. I'm afraid there is no such person in the history of Marine. That's right, the 18-year-old Marine General is half younger than Zephyr back then. Becoming a general was what Tail expected, a position second only to Fleet Admiral. It can be said that apart from the government and the Tianlong people, he no longer has to worry about anyone putting pressure on him. It seems that all the efforts are worth it, right? Tyr glanced at Warring States coldly and said, Teacher? I trained you to be in this position from the beginning. All the lieutenant generals present who had a good relationship with Tyr had happy smiles on their faces. There is no objection to Tyr becoming a general. Advertisement, becoming one of the strongest combat forces. Do you have anything to say about the situation in the New World, Tyr? I am very grateful to all the lieutenant generals for their cultivation over the years. I have decided that after the world conscription, we will first eliminate the corruption within Marine, and then go straight to Wanglong and destroy the 3-4 emperors promoted by New World. Sakaski, who never smiled happily after hearing Teal's suggestion. Tyr had said something similar to Warring States before, but he rejected it. Now, on the contrary, Sakaski will fully support Teal's proposal. So, what's more, Tyr stood up sharply, restrict the Shichibukai's movements and deprive them of the power to openly plunder. It's okay to transform into our marine to regularly distribute resources to them. The threat to the existence of some Shichibukai is too great, and open crimes have been covered up, causing dissatisfaction among a large number of civilians around the world. Just use my promotion to the position of general as a deterrent. If anyone doesn't obey, I will personally attack him. The Shichibukai are a group of pirates. For them, their greatest right is to commit crimes openly. If they lose this rule, will they really serve marine? Sengoku refuted Tyr's words. Even if he has the ability to fly faster than sailing, in Sengoku's eyes Shichibukai lost control. There will be another group of lawless pirates on the sea. The matter of Shichibukai. Akainu suddenly spoke. If you use your name to intimidate, maybe most of them will not dare to act rashly. Such a cooperative policy is not a bad idea. Why should we give pirates the power to openly commit crimes? Now Shichibukai only has Doflamingo, Empress Nine Snakes, Mahawk, and Moonlight Moria. The others, except Crocodile, were all killed by Tyr. If you ask me to make suggestions, there are too many. Taylor looked into Sengoku's eyes again. For example, don't approve the publication of newspapers that have a bad influence on marine. What do you mean? What do I mean? My bloody battleshanks, what do you mean by announcing to the world the newspaper that triggered the Civil War? Taylor instantly became furious. The power of his legs exploded instantly, sending Sang Guo rushing from his chair to the world outside the conference room. Boom! The wall of the conference room was shattered. Sengoku's collar was held in Tai's palm. The whole audience was stunned by what happened suddenly and their eyes widened in disbelief. Tyr. Lousy lived and died for marine. Tyr's voice came to everyone's ears from high in the air outside the conference room. Follow your orders and always stand at the forefront to perform the most dangerous tasks. Advertisement. Are you crazy, Tyr? But you have been teasing me time and time again. As a soldier, if you are not always ready for war, then why are you called a soldier? The huge noise coming from high in the sky of New Marine Fando caused countless soldiers to look up at the two men. What's wrong? Those are the Warring States Inspector and Lieutenant General Tyr. Boom! Tyr rushed Sengoku into the ground in the New Marine Fando base, took out a black knife with an angry look and stabbed him on the left side of the brain. It was unbelievable for anyone to see this scene. What did you make a person with the clearest brain, consciousness, and concepts become? Such an action shocked the Warring States period. He couldn't believe that the guy he trained personally now wanted to kill him. You turned Lousy into a monster, but you didn't say a word and wanted to destroy this monster? In the end, you will only reap the consequences? That's enough. Tyr's hand was pinched by Akainu's palm to stop Tyr, who continued to make mistakes. When the smoke dispersed, Akainu and everyone appeared behind him in an instant in order to stop Tyr. Calm down, Tyr. Akainu's words are behind Tyr, so Marine can't take action against his colleagues. He also understood that Tyr's patience with Sengoku had reached its limit, but now he was ruling Marine. Marine's times have changed, and he no longer wants to lose one of his most terrifying combat capabilities for these trivial matters. Let me tell you, the crime should not be placed on me, but on you. Tyr let go of Warring States and pointed at his head with his finger in an extremely rude manner. Sengoku was calmer than the angry Tyr. You can't even think of destroying him. Since you regard me as a mere tool, so be it, Warring States. A feeling of guilt emerged from the bottom of his heart, and he couldn't understand which step he had made wrong to make Tyr what he was now. He even had a strong desire to kill him. From his perspective, it was impossible for him to understand how deeply Tyr, who had emerged from the never-ending killings, was hurt by him. The relationship between teachers and students was also broken at this moment. In Karina's diary, Tyr finally understood that she would not choose Marine again. Chapter 143 Training Zoro. Go down and calm down, Tall. Let's go, little Taylor. Guion immediately stood up to comfort him, leading him away like a sister holding her younger brother. Next, Akainu stopped hiding. Let's settle old scores, half-hidden man. It's time for Marine to change. Taking into account the Warring States period's tolerance of all evil forces over the years, Akainu did not convict him of any serious crime. They just put him under house arrest in New Marineland to enjoy his retirement life, that is, serving as an instructor to train soldiers, etc., and no longer have any real power. He was briefly imprisoned for beating up Sengoku Tyr. A major internal cleanup has begun within Marine. After Sengoku was put under house arrest, the top military officials held several days of Shichibukai meetings, recruitment meetings, and New World security meetings. During this period, Akainu had no policy or order to get rid of the Shichibukai, but instead wanted to expand the 3 idle Shichibukai. They are Buggy, the clown who is expanding his power in the New World, and is one of the Shichibukai candidates. He has now obtained the Treasure of the Rocks Pirates, also known as Captain John's Treasure. There is also Trafalgar Law recommended by Doflamingo, and the former Rocks Pirate scientist, Miss Bajan personally proposed that Whitebeard too join Shichibukai. They all got Akainu's consent one after another, but they were strongly angered by the former Marine General, Black Arm, Zephyr. The person who made him lose his arm was Whitebeard too. Now, in order to deal with the situation in the New World, Marine has to use Shichibukai as a deterrent. Soon after, Zephyr took his gorillas and quickly disappeared on the sea. Kaji, who was investigating the public sentiment in the new Marine Fando residential area, was very unhappy when he met Guillaume holding Ty's hand on the street. Hey, Guillaume, why are you holding that boy's hand? He has worked hard since he was young and has yet to win Guillaume's heart, not even touching her once. He's patrolling you, what does it have to do with you if I hold his hand? Ah, I confess to you 100 times, 100 times. I know you have persisted for so many years, you are a good person, Gia. Gia felt speechless. Licking the dog? Seeing this kind of battle, the first thing that came to mind was the experienced dog licking. From the time I was young to now, I have never touched it with my hands. Tyr looked at Guillaume's white fingers and smiled, adjusting from the emotions he had just vented against Sengoku. Advertisement, you have been so good to me these days, be careful if I become a general and call your name upon you. Tyr gently let go of Guillaume's hand, summoned the flying sword and flew away quickly without looking back. Tyr quickly flew away, leaving this place that made him feel heavy. He didn't want to stay with warring states, and wanted to kill him if he stayed with him. He himself didn't know why he had such an idea. It seemed that he was being used and ignored, and in the conflict that just broke out, Tyr completely let go of the things in his heart. The era of peace was not created by your methods. The morning after the next day, Tyr flew with his sword and arrived at the small country of war science with only a few 100,000 people. Outside the palace hall, Tyr looked at the sleeping woman inside. Mulan, how's the scientific research going? Mulan woke up in an instant, grabbed the sword blade beside the bed and threw it towards Tyr. Tyr tilted his head to avoid it. Marine sword god? She woke up from her deep sleep, her expression still alert. Oh, that technology is already good. This guy's injuries have increased so much. Mulan narrowed her eyes and looked at the slash in front of Tyr. I couldn't believe he could survive such an injury. Take me to see it. Wouldn't there be some benefit for breaking into the boudoir of His Majesty in a kingdom? Seeing Mulan's seductive figure, Tyr didn't pounce on her like before. Some other time, Mulan, I won't do this kind of thing again now. All right. Seeing that Tyr was not moved by the charm of a woman's body, she stopped forcing him. After the Revolutionary Army battle, they plundered the flying devices of Revolutionary Army scientists and found that they could not be mass-produced. Following Mulan to a warehouse where technological items are stored, Tyr discovered a pair of black technological balls. Thanks to you, we have discovered the secret of the devil fruit, but what do you want with such a thing? Train your subordinates. Training subordinates to use this kind of thing? It can reach up to 10,000 tons of gravity black balls? Mulan was a little shocked. When this thing was the largest meteorite in the warehouse, it took a lot of lifting machinery. Let's go, Mulan. Advertisement Tyr took a pair of gravity balls and flew directly to the sky above Sword God Island and returned to Visalia Sky Island. 10,000 tons, a person who can easily pick up this weight, the slashes and wind waves he wields are almost the same as those of a swordsman. In the clouds in the clear sky, Tyr fell onto the lawn of the Sky Island. I saw Zoro training not far away. Back, Zoro glanced at Tyr who was walking towards him. Holding this thing will help you train. Tail adjusted it to 500 tons and easily threw it at Zoro. What is this? The second Zoro reached out to catch the gravity ball, the veins in his arms, neck, brain, and face exploded with force. Ah, why is it so heavy? He caught it, but it was extremely laborious. The swordsman's path is the most difficult. If you want to continue to become stronger, you must train your physical functions. How many tons of dumbbells do you usually train with, Zoro? It's close to 50 tons, damn it. Holding the gravity ball, he quickly used his strength to adapt. For more than half a year, he has been training with Hawkeye every day, and his strength have increased. Tyr walked up to him and took the gravity ball from his hand. Me, Hawkeye, red hair, including the 4 emperors of New World, the 3 generals, and some big guys who may be hidden in the world can easily pick up this weight. How strong is this guy? Zoro was sweating profusely as he watched Tyr turn the number on the gravity ball into 10,000 tons and wave it easily in his hand. Only then did he realize how big the gap between himself and the swordsman was. Do you understand what I mean? I want to train you to serve me? Then it's better to fight with me. This is the best way to grow. The foundation is very important, Roranoa. Tyr said to him, swordsmanship has no sex. Sword moves are the evolution of swordsmanship, and swordsmanship is the foundation of everything a swordsman does. Can't understand. You have been studying with Hawkeye for more than half a year. What did you learn? Fighting baboons. Ty was speechless and said, you draw the blade. Want to spar? Zoro grinned when he saw Tail holding the black knife behind him, and pulled out 3 knives to deal with it with all his strength. Seeing Tyr slashing from top to bottom, Zoro resisted with all his strength. Chapter 144 True Intention. The Wano Samurai Who Came to Sword God Island. Boom. Tyr exerted force without mercy, and the force was so great that Zoro's knees bent. When you master this, you might be able to compete with my strength. Zoro was a little dissatisfied and couldn't get up even though he tried his best. After withdrawing his strength, Tyr turned around and glanced at Robin, who was watching the battle on the roof. How are you doing here? Very good, the scenery and air are very good, very comfortable, Robin answered Taylor with a smile. That's good, you will be of great use in the future. Hey, can I ask what you did to Nami? Zoro asked as he stood up with difficulty. Things between men and women, but I'm not interested anymore. That's right, you are the winner and can decide everything. But, Tyr walked towards the edge of the empty island, it won't happen again. With a leap, Tyr jumped into the Sword God Island under the clouds. Below Sword God Island, there is an eye-catching ship with 3 samurai wearing feathers on it. One of them was Yu, who looked very young. This caused Tail to fall quickly from the Sky Island, causing an impact airflow around his body, and his eyes widened. Kinemon, there are so many ships around this island, it's so busy. It's absolutely true, it's even more prosperous than Wano country, Momonosuke-sama. However, the fur tribe living behind the elephant owner was killed here not long ago. Is that huge white bone the elephant owner? The fur tribe is now hiding in the forest within the Sword God Island. Tyr was busy fighting at the time, so he didn't know about it. Hiss, the sound of cutting through the airflow in the air appeared in the ears of everyone below, and Tyr descended very quickly. The moment he fell into the sea, Tyr braked instantly at a position less than 1 meter above the sea surface. What is that? Hole. Master Sword God, the fisherman who went fishing on Sword God Island yelled at Tyr. Because he descended too fast, the waves he caused on the sea scared away the surrounding fish. Well, I was wrong, advertisement, you drove away all our fish. After getting along with each other for several months, Tyr actually doesn't have that much airs in the eyes of the citizens of Sword God Island. Over time, it evolved into this. He is very easygoing to the citizens of his island. Kanjuro, that guy's aura is so strong. We went to sea to find like-minded people to help us go to Wano country to defeat Kaido. That guy is Marine, I'm afraid. Kanjuro, a man with red hair and the culture of Wano country all over his body, holds a huge writing brush as a weapon. Marine? Momonosuke was a little shocked. Then will Marine take action against us? Probably not, as long as we don't say we are samurai. Where is that guy? Kinemon quickly looked around and found that Tyr had disappeared from sight at some point. Hey, I heard you. The 3 of them heard Tyr's voice above their heads and looked up. Tyr was sitting cross-legged above their boat, staring at them with evil intentions. The lifeblood of a huge kingdom, the weapons factory of the world, the country that supplies war weapons, Tyr said to them slowly. The latter 2 are things everyone knows, but the lifeblood of the huge kingdom is the news that Tyr obtained from Mary Joa. No matter where the title, samurai, is placed in the world, once discovered, Marine will dispatch warships to obliterate it. Because, that country is supported by Joy Boy, and to be precise, it is the most powerful pirate country. Now it is occupied by Kaido and used to develop weapons. We are not samurai, sir, we are seafarers. Vagabond. Tail smiled, feeling that they took him for a fool. But that's right, these people don't know the identity of Tyr's traveler. What would you think if I said that I would destroy Wano in the future? Tyr asked tentatively. Why? Momonosuke didn't understand. Father. Momonosuke couldn't help but uttered the words, Father, when he saw Tyr talking about Odin. What's going on? My slash turned into his attack. However, the next second he still moved his fingers slightly, allowing the flame slash to turn into his power, forming more than a dozen burning sword blades to attack Kinemon, Kanjuro, and Momonosuke. Lord Momonosuke, I will protect you to the death. As expected, we cannot contact Marine. Look, a samurai is a samurai. In this world, once a samurai is discovered, he will be arrested. Advertisement, father pays his debts to his son, although I don't like doing this. Tail walked towards Momonosuke, but if it is used on you, I will still be very, very happy. In the world, any lurking threats will be wiped out by Tyr. Then, you are our enemy. Kinemon pulled out the 2 sword blades from his waist, burn all enemies with flames and protect our lord. Your Excellency, why don't you show your respects once? We don't mean any harm. Your Excellency, I don't know what connection you have with Wano country, please don't do this, any civilization is worthy of survival. After hearing what Tyr said, the 3 of them realized that the person in front of them was their enemy. Taylor knocked the duckbill hat on his head, I'm a Marine, and I can't keep you in my position. Damn. Are we in the wrong place? For Tyr, any hidden dangers that could lead to future wars must be erased from this world. Tyr also landed on the beach on the east side of the island from the air, about 10 meters away from them. Kazuki Odin. Taylor pointed at the 3 of them. A man who served in both the Whitebeard Pirates and the Roger Pirates, but eventually became a fool who lost his country to the pirates. Kanjuro only had a look of shock on his face. The flames that appeared out of thin air made Tyr frown. Kinnaman slashed a tail with a flaming slash from the air. Because your father is a pirate, and his sins cannot be erased even if he dies. Damn it. After sailing the sea for so many days, I'm still hungry. Kinnaman fell to the ground while protecting Momonosuke. No, only then did he realize that the person in front of him was Lieutenant General Marine, who had shocked the world for more than a year. No, we are just visiting this island, you are not going to take action against us. As for the reason, it is an absolute order issued by the government. Although I don't know why you came to this island, my next target is Wano country, so I can catch you. Suddenly he remembered that he was looking for the red historical text of Raf Drew, and that he had to destroy it. No, the country of Wano does not deserve to exist, Tyr said to them with great determination. What should we do, Kinnaman? Momonosuke was already extremely scared. Hearing that Tyr was going to destroy Wano country, Kinnaman and Momonosuke among the three had violent mood swings. I didn't expect that he even knew about Lord Odin. As soon as he raised his arm, Tyr threw their ship to the beach on the east side of Sword God Island and smashed it into pieces. Why could swinging a sword produce flames? This puzzled him. The Straw Hats are dead, and it will only be Marine who goes to Wano to defeat Kaido. Chapter 145. Tyr was petrified by Hancock. The flaming blades formed a circle around them, locking them in. Just get rid of the threat, Taylor jumped in with one step. After personally breaking with the Warring States period, Tyr was completely liberated, as if he had been reborn. Now he only needs to raise his hand here to destroy the nerves in Sangwo's body a little bit, causing him to suffer from injuries. Before long, he will die of illness. But we are not pirates. What kind of threat are we to you, Marine? It's really not a threat to me, but it's a huge threat to the future. Foxfire-style swordsmanship, a move that burns flames with domineering power? Nowadays, Tyr can see through all kinds of strange swordsmanship at a glance, most of which rely on domineering. Use the flame slash to kill people, use the knife to cut away all flames. He pinched the extremely sharp first-generation Kitetsu and evenly stimulated the armed power in his palm. Boom! The blazing flames burned fiercely on first-generation Kitetsu. Look, I can too. The shocked Kinnaman couldn't believe that Tail knew his Foxfire-style swordsmanship, and felt troubled by this. Someone is coming. Save us. Momonosuke looked at a two-headed snake Poseidon-type ship docked at the coast not far behind Tyr. The figure is enchanting and tall, exuding extremely seductive power and walking toward Tyr. This familiar aura appeared, and Tyr, who was about to suppress the three warriors of Wano country, suddenly covered his face. Why at this time? There was no order given for her to come. So beautiful, Momonosuke was directly seduced by the woman's beauty and almost turned to stone. Save you? Alas, Tyr sighed, turned around and patted the woman on the shoulder. Leave it to you, Hancock, to arrest them. I brought you the man. Why haven't you given me any orders these past few months? Too busy. Don't deal with me. Do you want to get rid of me? Tell you, it's impossible. Now that she's here, she can't be left idle. Without using the Sea Tower stone to restrain the Empress, Tyr did not dare to look into her eyes. Only after understanding the true power of the sweet fruit did he realize how terrifying the Empress' ability was. Even if he has the slightest affection, or liking for her, he will be instantly petrified by her. He smiled slightly and walked towards the Nine Snakes pirate's ship. As soon as Tyr left, the Empress looked at the people in front of her with disgust, then lowered her head and pointed at them with a look of arrogance and indifference. You rude person. How dare you stand in front of me, go to hell. Hey, Momonosuke-sama, what's wrong with you? Cold sweat broke out on Tyr's forehead. When he saw Momonosuke being petrified, he returned to the Empress and squeezed her hand and said, Advertisement, don't kill, just arrest. Before he could finish speaking, Tyr's body turned into stone. You. This surprised Hancock, who didn't know what was going on. The previously extremely cold-blooded and even demanding Tyr was turned to stone because of her ability? She frowned slightly and said with a shy face, You have feelings for me. She immediately depetrified Tyr, but she didn't dare to do anything to Tyr, because he received a piece of intelligence from the government on his way to Sword God Island. Teal has become the strongest force in the new generation of Marine, that is, the advanced news of Marine General. Codename. Sword God, one of the strongest combat forces in the world. Damn it. Tyr, who had been petrified, grabbed Hancock's arms. How dare you petrify Lousy? No, not my concubine. What is that? I am. Absolutely. Tyr's eyes glanced at her involuntarily, and he was instantly fascinated by the perfect body contours under the Snake Princess's cheongsam. Hey, Tyr, who was petrified for the second time, showed an intoxicated expression that he had not seen for a long time. What's going on with you? The Empress' face turned red, and she suddenly thought to herself when she looked at Tyr's appearance. Could this be marriage? Her incurable love brain caused her to misunderstand this. No, let's deal with the enemy in front of us first. Minutes passed. Under the charm of the Empress, Kinemon, Kanjuro, and Momonosuke were turned to stone almost instantly. They all had special thoughts about the Empress. Bang. Petrified was blown away by Tyr's domineering force. Hancock. Bring me the sea tower stone, he immediately ordered Hancock. Yes, there is almost nothing that can remove the bug ability of Sweet Fruit except for her dominance and her own ability to remove petrification. Arriving on the Nine Snakes pirate's ship, Tyr saw another extremely embarrassed woman, Bello Betty. Can't you wear more clothes, commander of the Eastern Army of the Revolutionary Army? What? Bello Betty weakly teased Tell, you don't like this kind of clothing. Now it would be false to say that there is no such thing, but he is no longer so perverted. I like it, but it has nothing to do with our next topic. I need your fruit power. Tyr directly stated his purpose. Forget it, I won't work for Marine. Advertisement. Is there any difference? The dragon is dead and I have eliminated the monkey clan. What's the point of persisting like this? Belief. Can you keep your faith alone? Can you change the world alone? Can't. But I have to keep the faith. No, you don't want to keep your faith. I want to. Bella Betty yelled angrily. No, you don't want to. Taylor continued to tease her. I think, no, you don't want to. Tell talked nonsense outside her cage for several minutes, making Bella Betty furious. You think, I don't want to. She was stunned after being successfully bypassed by Tyr. Look, you're starting to say you don't want to anymore. If you let me out, I'll fight you to the death, kid. No, you can't beat me. Hancock was extremely surprised when he saw Tell, who was different from what he had in his impression. When did he talk so much? Aren't they usually beheaded? Ah, kill me, you brat, Bella Betty said in a rage. I feel that I have been greatly humiliated. This is the effect that Taylor wants. I need your fruit power, please work for me. Tyr put his hand into the cage. A sincere invitation was extended to her. The Revolutionary Army has been defeated. If you really want to change the world, you can only change the way. Taylor continued to talk to her patiently. Believe me, I will kill you first when I come out. Can I call you sister? Taylor's words shocked everyone. Ah. Bella Betty tilted her head in confusion. I think you are so dashing and have a good figure. You must not be an unreasonable person. Using softness to overcome strength, Tyr will no longer kill innocent people indiscriminately. Bella Betty's emotions were collapsing bit by bit under Tyr's persuasion. It wasn't that she didn't want to stick to her true feelings. Rather, the Revolutionary Army has disappeared, and if you want to survive, you must find another way out. You haven't even said such a nice thing to me, Hancock complained. I won't work for the government, boy, just give up the idea of wanting to win over me. Chapter 146 Blockade of Trade, War Plan of Wano Country. This woman is too soft. Bella Betty felt a little confused when she saw Tyr retracting his hand to solicit her. She was already shaken in her heart, and it would be fine as long as Taylor tried harder to persuade her. It seems to be tough, however, Teal decided to change his approach. What are you going to do? Bella Betty saw Tell opening the cell and pulling her out. I have spoken to you very gently. Since you want to die, then I will just kill you and transfer your abilities. Hey, otherwise, is this how you recruit someone to surrender? Bella Betty was a little shocked. Tyr, who was quite harmonious just now, suddenly seemed to be a different person. Tell pulled her to the stern of the boat. Stand up and I'll chop your head off. Cut. Anyway, you want to follow Monkey D. Dragon's belief. I have lost patience with you. Tyr summoned the black knife and held it in his hand. The knife swung directly towards his neck. I surrender. At the critical moment, Bella Betty lost her strength. The blade was only 0.01 millimeters away from her neck, and blood was already flowing out of the skin of his neck. Ha, ha, you crazy person. I'm not a lunatic, it's you who disobeys me. Tyr smiled at him. If you don't obey, I'll kill you. Why'd I keep you as an enemy? Just like the rumors say, he is a cold-blooded madman. Bella Betty was so frightened that she almost moved her head. The lunatic will not show mercy to you. Tyr's gaze swept across the curves of her body. You have a good figure. I already feel that my morale has increased. Today's Tyr is not cold-blooded. He can be said to have experienced a combination of various things. Now it is the most perfect existence. It requires strength and strength. It has returned to the somewhat mean character it had when it first crossed over. If I join you, I won't provide you with. Don't get me wrong, I'm leaving you alive just to provide you with the ability to support me. My powers are for war. I just want to wage war against the 4 emperors. Bella Betty was shocked by Teal's decisive answer. Who in this world dares to openly launch a war against the 4 emperors? It seems that the destruction of the Revolutionary Army was no accident. Back on the deck, Hancock looked at Tell with affection. Advertisement. Where should I go? You can go back, Hancock. Although I am dissatisfied with the current Shichibukai system, it can still protect you. I won't go back. She planned to stay here in Tyr. The few months would be too difficult for her. Then you can help me deal with the 4 emperors. Your ability is very important. 4 emperors. That's right. Tyr came to Momonosuke's stone statue. The others are at your disposal. This brat will undo the petrification for me. As commanded. Momonosuke, who was petrified by the Empress, was stunned for a moment and checked his body. It really takes no effort, Momonosuke. Momonosuke was a little stunned when he heard Tyr's tone. He had just been lifted from petrification and was very frightened. Don't do anything to me. I'm willing to do anything. Momonosuke lowered his head and bowed at 90 degrees to beg for mercy. Foxfire-style swordsmanship. A sword blade appeared in Tyr's hand, instantly burning up the flames of the swordsmanship he had just learned. The knife threw flames at Momonosuke. Momonosuke was scalded by the flames and rolled on the beach with his head in his arms. The remaining hair on Yu Daodo's head was burnt and all of it was burnt bald. Isn't it too cruel? He is still a child. That's right, he's still a child. Tyr didn't show mercy because he thought he was a child, but he still put out the flames for him. The binding of the sword, Tyr thought. Use sword energy to hang Momonosuke behind him. Before I arrive in Wano country, maybe I can make a deal with Kaido, such as strangling you to death or something. Tyr couldn't accept the fact that Whitebeard too made Zephyr disappear. Guys like Buggy the Clown became a Shichibukai by relying entirely on the name of the Roger Pirates. The next day, Tyr held a meeting on Sword God Island and recruited Roronoa Zoro as a mercenary. His bounty cannot be erased in a short period of time, it will take some time. Robin stayed alone on the empty island. Nami, Zoro, Chopper and others were all summoned to the island by Tyr to be appointed officials. Personal assistant, Nami, also a navigator, advertisement. Doctor. Chopper, also a combatant. Zoro is Tyr's subordinate and combatant. On Sword God Island, Tyr stood on the high tower of the base and looked at everyone below. Sword God General. The newspaper after Tyr became a general was published in full on this day, and the citizens of Sword God Island went crazy and came to pay homage to him. Appeared. The youngest and most powerful iron-blooded general in marine history. Akainu received full approval of Tyr's proposal to eliminate the 4 emperors. Even if the world government wants to oppose it, it can't cover up Taylor's arrogance in the bureau. Go back and prepare for war. Say goodbye to your family these days. Tyr only said one sentence to them. He immediately went to the Sword God Island conference room and held a war meeting against Kaido of the Beasts. Sword God Island. After the full announcement of Tell becoming a general, everyone's attitude towards him changed drastically. The power he now possesses can mobilize the power of any base, branch, security station, and create any country in the New World. This is the deterrence brought by strength. For the beast pirates stationed in Wano, all foreign trade is prohibited. Tyr said calmly in front of all the senior officials on Sword God Island. But, this may affect our relations with neighboring countries, General Tyr. Hearing the word, general, he felt more comfortable than ever before. Tyr, who had experienced killing in hell, now fully understood his justice and position. They will fully condemn our actions. If Wano did not provide weapons to the world, all major countries would stand up. Then tell them. Tell said firmly, want war or peace? Received, taking note. Fujitora suddenly said at the same time, so, how should we deal with the government's problems? General Tyr, your battle plan will undoubtedly cut off our source of weapons. Does Sword God Island still lack weapons now? Are there so many underground weapons factories? That's right. We ourselves are a large island of weapons production. There are about 400 underground weapons factories, which provide Sword God Island with a large number of various cold weapons and musket forgings, without any need to import them from Wano country. The supply of various weapons and resources is also collected by the Kingdom of Kamabaka and transported to the island where Tyr is located. The development of the island is completely freely arranged by the civilians of the world, as long as it follows the policies set by Tell. Therefore, the development efficiency is astonishingly fast. Lord Tyr, you want to cut off Kaido's financial resources, then attack the country of Wano in an all-out way and eradicate them completely, Chisha said after analyzing. Chapter 147 Deal. Become a Shinigami side. Smart, but before we get there, I'm afraid I have to go to Dressrosa and talk to Doflamingo. What is certain is that Fujitora now wholeheartedly supports all of Teal's plans. Coupled with himself, the combat power of 2 generals, a Shichibukai, and the encouraged fruit, it is still possible to fight against the Kaido pirates. General, why do you want to hang that Wano child behind you? This? Taylor reached out and flicked back. Dwang it? Momonosuke's lower body felt a sharp pain, and he kept crying on the sword bondage. The pain was so painful that his 2 short legs kicked back and forth quickly. He cried out in agony, help me, father, mother. This is Kazuki Oden's son, and I decided to put him to death in Wano country. Tyr calmed down his cold expression. Until the end of the meeting. After the meeting, Tell decided to go to the large forest in the north of the island to check whether the fur tribe was disturbing the people after escaping from behind the elephant owner. General. Well, Tyr, who was walking on the street, lowered his head, enjoying the sound and noise of admiration from all the people as he stepped into the forest in the north of the city. As soon as he disappeared from everyone's sight, he found himself in a dark world. A familiar dark space. Where is this? Tyr regained his usual calmness, his eyes observing in the darkness. What is certain is that this is not a jungle, there are no flowers, trees, and no chirping of birds. The black knife involuntarily exuded the dark aura that Tyr was very familiar with, and floated in front of him. I think. My guess all along is not wrong, Tyr said to his black knife. Unbelievable, the lost soul returns to the beginning. The dark aura overflowing from the black knife turned into white bones, and he stood out with the sickle. It was the Shinigami that Tai had seen before. He floated around Tyr's body, observing Tyr's body from various angles. I can see through the thoughts in the soul. You want to break the rules and inject multiple demon souls into your body to increase your strength. That's right, Taylor said calmly, what can you do? Ha ha ha, Shinigami's sinister laughter made Tai's scalp numb. So far, he had no one to fear in the outside world, but he seemed so small in front of this creature. I can help you. How can I help? Are there any conditions? Tell asked curiously. Advertisement, of course, you have to be my sickle from now on. I become your scythe? Are you kidding me? Don't refuse in a hurry. After all, your lifespan is almost coming to an end. Tyr frowned after hearing this, but he did not refute this point. Injuries in battle, and the power of the fruit forcibly stimulated by battle, all require sacrifice of lifespan. Understood. Shinigami pointed at Tyr's eyebrows with his white-bone fingertips. Being my sickle is not a bad thing. Every time you kill a creature, I will give you 1 year of life. What? Tyr was startled. Does the ones I killed before count? Ah, Shinigami showed an expression of intoxication and enjoyment. Forget it, but it has been used as a meeting gift for me to propose a deal to you. More than 300,000? I only deserve to meet you? That's right. Shinigami continued, you just need to agree now, and I will immediately return to your black sword. If you don't agree, you will die within a few years. No matter how strong you are, it will not help. Within a few years, this extremely short number made Tyr deep in thought. He has only been in this world for 9 years, how many more years will he die? How is it possible to accept such a thing? Can I ask something? Tyr suddenly smiled. Although he was not afraid of death, he didn't want to die so early. Are you just a clone in this world? Teal's words made Shinigami laugh loudly. Ha ha ha. You can think of me as infinity and then multiply it by infinity. Then how do you inject me with multiple devil fruits? I have to promise you this before I tell you. To put it bluntly, Teal feels that this Shinigami wants to take advantage of him and recruit him as a big enemy to help him complete his achievements. However, as long as you can become stronger, it doesn't matter what you do. Anyway, there is no end to killing in this world, so it's not impossible to agree to it. Okay. Then I will be your sickle. The moment he heard the answer, Shinigami turned into ethereal darkness and disappeared from Tyr's sight. Just use this knife to touch the soul container containing the devil fruit's ability, and then eat, inject, and transfer it. The last words he said when he got into the black knife shocked Tyr. Won't you die? Hey, Tyr, who did not get a response from Shinigami, soon appeared in the green jungle. He stood alone on the jungle path with a confused look on his face. A black scythe brand appeared on Tyr's neck. Is this F********** G true? Feeling the burning sensation on his neck, Tyr walked towards the lake deep in the jungle. Advertisement looking at his neck in the clear lake, it was exactly the same as the scythe Shinigami fought with him before. Across the lake shore, a furry creature that looks like a rabbit is collecting water from a bottle at the edge of the lake. Don't move. Fur tribe, Tyr recognized it at a glance. Moreover, she is still a female. She immediately got up when she saw Tyr and ran quickly into the forest. That guy is the master of this island. Ah. The moment she looked forward, she bumped into Tyr, who appeared in front of her first. It's you. Ruined our country. The rabbit was covered in white fluff and blonde hair and sat on the ground, looking at Tyr with fear on his face. She raised her paw and swung it towards Tyr. Tyr pinched her wrist instantly, rendering her unable to exert any strength. It's quite cute, a fur woman. Let me go, let me go. Under Tyr's open door policy, Sword God Island allowed the Murlocs who were protected by him to live on the island. Therefore, the residents of this island are very diverse. Compared with humans, the Fishmen tribe's military force is stronger, and their status is also higher. Perhaps. Tyr squeezed her hand with his right palm and put his left hand on his chin as he thought, I can allow you to immigrate to Sword God Island as well. Ah, she was shocked when she heard it. This way, you won't have to be sneaky. With your strength, you will soon become a high-ranking member of the island. Aren't you here to hunt us? Do I look so cold-blooded? Very cold-blooded. There is no emotion in your eyes, she loudly told Tyr the truth. Really, did I hurt you? Tail knew his situation very well. Under the influence of the devil fruit, his eyes gave people the impression of a cold-blooded monster. His behavior is very different now, because the devil fruit cannot affect his soul. No. What's your name, little fur bunny? Tyr asked her. She resisted, but she still said it after realizing that Tyr didn't mean any harm. Gar. Lot. So cute. I suddenly have bad thoughts about you. Chapter 148. Yes, the world is so cruel, bad idea. Tyr couldn't agree with what other people think, at least he thinks that the beast-eared girl. It can really arouse his imagination. Take me to your tribe, Garrot. Why? But you personally destroyed our home, Zuowu. Garrett was a little reluctant to take Tyr there. To her, Tyr was an enemy. That's inevitable. The Elephant Master chose to help Nika Luffy and wanted to kill tens of thousands of people in an instant. Tyr had to kill it as an enemy. To avoid future troubles. Now the tribe can only live here, in this forest, by stealing supplies from the residents of the town. Am I not solving this problem now? Taylor let go of her hand and walked deeper into the jungle. You can consider this your new home. Coexist with humans. That's right, as long as I'm alive, there will be no biological divergence. Tyr, who had just experienced a strange incident and talked with Shinigami, was no longer worried about his lifespan. As long as he doesn't die in battle, this island will never have internal conflicts break out under his eyes. Hey, wait for me, I didn't promise to take you there. You have to agree even if you don't agree. I'll forcefully enter your territory. Your territory. Taylor was determined to go in. No matter what, this matter must be resolved. Otherwise, the problem will not be solved if the towns outside the jungle are plundered by them every day. Now Tyr feels that innocent killings are really unnecessary. Entering the depths of the jungle, Tyr found that the branches were full of creatures spying on him secretly. He subconsciously held the black knife and let the other 4 knives rotate around his body as protection. I hereby declare, are you going to die, or are you yearning for a new life? Tyr clenched the blade with great seriousness, releasing a terrifying aura that was far stronger than theirs. This made all the fur tribe furious, including Garrett who was next to Tyr. This is different from the negotiation as promised. Garrett immediately panicked when he saw Tyr's hostility. 2 huge figures emerged from the tree trunks and appeared in front of Tyr with less than 1,000 fur tribesmen. Listen to the people in the city. You caught Kazuki Momonosuke? Do you know who that is? He is the son of a very great man. A giant cat smoking a pipe, and a giant canine on the left and right, stood in front of Tyr very domineeringly and said. Advertisement. Tyr stared at them indifferently and said. Who is the great man you were talking about? Does that need to be said? Mao Lao glared at Tyr. Of course it's the daimyo of Curry of Wano country, Lord Kazuki Oden. The cold wind blew the branches, making the surrounding air restless. You kidnapped the only heir to the general of Wano, Lord Momonosuke, and you still have the nerve to negotiate with us. Boss dog. Boss cat. Stop talking to him. This guy cost us nearly 100 compatriots that day. Recalling the scenes of Tail bombarding the Elephant Master with various large-scale skills such as 10,000 swords returning to the clan and sword Chi Lingtian, all members of the fur tribe had goosebumps all over their bodies. Yeah, that's right. Taylor held his chin and thought, you two are the fur tribe who followed Kazuki Oden decades ago. Marine has information. The best way to solve this kind of thing is to directly kill the leader among them. People who have been on One Piece Roger's ship and Whitebeard's ship are all defined as black by Tyr. No matter how they clean themselves up, they are loyal to the country of Wano. But now Tyr is no longer the completely cold-blooded person he was before. Besides, killing them in front of the fur tribe will not get the fur tribe's obedience. With interests first, Tyr decided to lock them up first and slowly make the fur tribe obey him. During the negotiation, Tyr instantly used his knife to slash at the cat boss, Cat Viper, and the dog boss, Inu Arashi. The 2 of them leaned back, and blood suddenly spurted out from their mouths and chests. Everyone was shocked and dumbfounded by what they saw. No one expected that Teal would take action directly. You are here to kill us. The severely wounded cat boss raised his steel-like claws and struck out at Tyr. Bang! The moment the sharp claw hit Tell's black knife, it was bounced away by the force of Tell's right arm. With a slight movement of his fingers, 5 knives stuck in the air launched a blind angle attack on the cat boss very quickly. No. Whoosh. 4 knives containing sword energy instantly penetrated the cat boss's body. I've shown mercy. The cat boss's body fell to the ground. It was unbelievable that Tyr's combat power was so powerful that he couldn't resist. It is Tyr's consistent style to go all out to defeat the target. Inuarashi turned around to resist, and the black sword swung down. Ah, you. Garrett's favorable opinion of Tyr was severely reduced when he first met Tyr, and there was only anger in his eyes. Knives are the fastest and sharpest for killing and wounding, and Tyr has no bells and whistles. Advertisement conquerors accidentally shocked 2 weaklings to death. But this time, he knew that if he wanted the fur tribe to do things for him, he couldn't kill them. Yes, the world is so cruel. Tyr responded to him coldly. Is the world where the strong are respected so cruel? Brother Pedro. Garrot cried and shouted. Stop joking. Garrett, who was lost in despair, wrapped his palm with lightning and swung it towards Tyr's head. All the fur tribe warriors who rushed towards Tyr were knocked away and scattered throughout the jungle. Ah! Garrett's body fell to the ground, and he spat out saliva after being hit by the force. Tyr's words aroused the public indignation of most of the fur tribe, and they had to obey under the absolute power. All the warriors of the fur tribe rushed towards Tyr with various weapons, and a scarlet explosive momentum spread in the jungle. You be asterisk 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 D. How dare you give me the cat boss? At the moment when the weapons clashed, the long sword in Inuarashi's hand was cut off by the black sword with a mournful slash, and the blade fell into his flesh and blood. Inuarashi also lost his resistance instantly and lay down with Neko Viper. Okay. Tyr, with blood on his face, inserted the black knife and 5 knives into the soil, opened his hands and spoke to the rest of the fur tribe. Boom. If they are imprisoned and tamed slowly, they can at least retain the hearts of the fur tribe. The 2 leaders who led them were seriously injured, which severely damaged the fighting spirit of the fur tribe, and their eyes were full of anger towards Tyr. You're not dead, don't worry, you've avoided the critical point. It's your turn. With a cold breath, Tyr appeared behind Inuarashi with a knife and slashed out. Just like Shinigami's agreement with him, a living being has a lifespan of 1 year. This is Conqueror's Entanglement. This guy plans to attack with all his strength from the beginning. All the fur tribes who have been pirates before will be imprisoned, and the rest can live on this island. You also said you were not cold-blooded. Her white fur wrist was pinched by Tyr, and then she was thrown to the ground. At that moment, Taylor felt a comfortable burning sensation from the Shinigami sickle mark on his neck. If it were me before, all of you would have been torn apart by the sword energy storm at the moment of the attack. Tyr said calmly to Garrot. Do you want to live, or die? A fur tribe who looked like a jaguar took the initiative to stand up. He took a deep breath from the cigarette in his hand and said. She originally thought that Tyr was here to negotiate, but she didn't expect that when he entered the territory, he killed her, their leader. Snapped. The wailing blade slashed from Inuarashi's right chest to his left waist, forming a bloody scar. Chapter 149 Jump Down, Momonosuke. Stop resisting, Garrot. Our entire clan combined is no match for him. But, Inuarashi and Catboss. Stop, Pedro shouted sternly, you are not a pirate yet, just live under this guy's rule. If you don't want to live, I can send you to death myself. Tyr stared at his stretched palms. In Teal's view, he has given a lot of patience to communicate with these people, and there is nothing he can do if he doesn't appreciate them. Under the threat of Tyr's power, the fur tribe had to surrender. They followed Tyr's steps, lined up in a row, and followed Tyr out of the northern jungle of Sword God Island in a very low mood. You are a real devil. Garrot was right behind Tyr, glaring at him. That's just your evaluation, live a good life, Garrot. Don't call my name, how old are you, little rabbit? Why should I tell you, damn it, because, sometimes you have to know something about your position, didn't they tell you? Tell me what? Garrot is only 15 years old now, so he has no idea why Tyr wanted to kill Inu Lan and Cat Viper. No, it's nothing. Seeing the hatred in Garrett's eyes was very high. Taylor felt there was no need to explain anymore. Their 2 bosses cannot be released, which is a great threat to Tyr. They will also lead this clan to die before Tyr. Therefore, if you don't kill them, it's best to imprison them. Most of the fur tribe were sent to prison for rehabilitation, and only about 200 fur tribes settled down in the city of Sword God Island. He is not afraid of conflicts and hatred intensifying on this island, because Tyr is the island's anchor. The problem of the fur tribe in the northern part of Sword God Island has been solved. Noon the next day. Military ports dispatched waves of troops overseas, all to prevent the large red-haired pirate ship from going on a rampage and plundering. In Tyr's military office, he casually summoned him by the window, and a huge piece of barbecue flew towards him from the island of the Baron of the Stomach. Can you stop being like this, Hancock? Tyr understood at this moment. How serious were the things that previous over-the-top perverts had committed? In private, Hancock completely ignored his status and lay on the office floor in very seductive and sexy clothes. Advertisement this gave him a headache, but, this is your request to me. After swallowing the huge piece of meat in several mouthfuls, Tyr came to Hancock and looked at her with a red face. Hey, you goblin, get up here. Tyr reached out and put his hand around her to get up. The door was pushed open by Chisha and she broke in. General, the representative of the fur tribe went out to fight overnight and won consecutively in the arena. Huh? From Chisha's perspective, she watched the moment when Teal and Hancock came into physical contact, and she froze on the spot holding the file. You continue. Chisha quietly locked the office door. Hey, don't get me wrong, Chisha, I'm correcting her. Tyr stretched out his hand to hold Chisha. You seem to have really changed as a person, Tyr. Hancock was not used to seeing Tyr being so reserved. Hancock is the kind of person who loves someone until death. Teal has obtained her first blood. Naturally, she treats Teal as someone who will stay with him until death. Damn. This G harem is on fire. I told you to be normal from now on and stop being so sexy and flirting with me. Aren't you doing something? Chisha asked curiously. What are you doing? Come here. Tyr awkwardly pulled her to the table. Tell me, what happened to the Fur Tribe? The Fur Tribe won honorary victories in the gladiatorial arena, and their status skyrocketed overnight. This news is not surprising to Tyr. After all, the Fur Tribe is a natural fighting tribe. The moon was full yesterday. According to my observation, they can also gain powerful power through the full moon. That kind of power has surpassed many lieutenant generals. Chisha said, handing the photo of the document in her hand to Tell. The one who represented the Fur Tribe was Garot. The moon rabbit looked a little crazy, as if he had lost control. What's going on with this violent appearance? I don't know, but that rabbit has been fighting all night and is still fighting today. I understand, let's go and have a look. Let Hancock change into Shiji's Cheongsam, and Tyr asks her to follow Chisha to the arena. He was taken to the exclusive viewing room by the staff and looked at the bloody big disc below. Garrett's expression was almost crazy, and his winning streak made the blood of all the spectators boil. Is this really out of control? The out-of-control emotions and body made her still very angry at this moment. Tyr jumped from the balcony of his private room into the arena where Garrett was. His appearance startled Garrot. Advertisement, are you the next challenger? Her game is suspended, I'm going to take him away, Tyr announced loudly. Ah! Garrot, who was running wild and out of control, appeared in front of Tyr very quickly and swung out his claws with electric shock. The claws were easily dodged by Tyr, who stretched out his sword fingers to inject sword energy, and touched his nerve points, causing her to lose mobility instantly. With one move, you defeated the rabbit who had been winning all night. As expected of the marine sword god who protects us. Ignoring the cheers from the audience, Teal immediately took Garrot back to his room. You. Garrett's eyes were fixed on Tyr, full of hatred. Why did you save me? Before Taylor could answer, she fainted briefly. Beast-eared girl. So cute. Chisha's cheeks turned red and she looked at Garrot. Yeah. Hancock also nodded. Little did they know that Tyr had offended the Fur Tribe, and the only way to repair the relationship with the Fur Tribe was through time. Tell someone to take her back. I need the fighting power of the Fur Tribe. Although it was a bit disappointing to the audience, on this island with high force value, no one would complain about Tyr's actions. Perhaps, calling them Chopper to communicate with each other would gradually improve their relationship. This decision was soon fulfilled, and Chopper got along very well with the Fur Tribe. The Fur Tribe also gradually realized that if they want the tribe to continue to survive, they must submit to work under Tyr. But building trust takes time. Late at night, the roof of Teal's office was above the roof. He brought Momonosuke up there and let him stand on the edge, while he lay down with a box of wine next to him and admired the moonlight. What are you going to do? I'm afraid of heights. Momonosuke's legs were weak and he looked very surprised. I remember, during the war, I killed another person from Wano country. Listening to Tyr's words, Momonosuke had no time to care about other people's lives at this moment. That's right, Izo from the Whitebeard Pirates, I remember him. Izo. Kikunojo's brother. But they're all dead, so it doesn't matter. Tyr lay on the eaves and looked at Momonosuke. Stop torturing me, please. Jump, Tyr ordered Momonosuke. What did you say? I will fall to death. Chapter 150 Destiny. It's okay. I have the best doctor in the world here who can cure you, so just jump. Ah, don't. Momonosuke begged Tyr sincerely. No, 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 I want you to jump down. The tower is 100 meters high. With Momonosuke's strength, he would not die but would be disabled if he jumped. Ah, father, he traveled through time more than 20 years ago, so his mind is still a little kid. He was very afraid of Tyr's treatment, and he didn't understand why Tyr would treat him like this. In a sense, Teal can be regarded as a doctor, but the drugs he makes are stimulating to the brain. Lousy will get angry if you don't dance. Ah, Momonosuke screamed helplessly and desperately, seeing Tyr poking his butt with the tip of the knife. Jump, hurry up. With such a small body, it should be fine if it falls, Taylor thought to himself. After all, people in this world have terrible physical fitness. No, please, I can do whatever you want me to do. Anything can be done. How about fighting in the gladiatorial arena? No. Then you'd better jump. Listening to his screams, Tyr inserted a knife into his butt and pushed him down forcefully. Ah! Help! Boom! Momonosuke fell to the ground from a 100-meter high tower and fainted on the spot. Tyr took out a phone bug and called Chopper. Teal. What can you do? Chopper's voice came from the other end of the phone. Karuchu, Chopper. Tall, who was standing in the high tower, choked up when he heard the strange female voice on the other end. Beast-eared girl. No, Tyr shook his head and gave up this evil idea. Come to the base, I want you to help me treat the child. Is Chopper leaving? I can't help it. I have a mission. I'll accompany you next time. Taylor's mouth twitched as he listened to the cute voice on the phone. He should have known that he would be gentler. Maybe, the one being, Kaluchu, right now is himself. Sigh. No matter what, the position between pirates and marines will not change. Tai was dejected and envious of jumping down from the tower to Momonosuke's side. Woo, father. Mother. Momonosuke, whose legs were broken in the fall, lay on the ground like a dead dog. Am I too cruel? Help me. I am the sole heir to the General of Wano. Mr. General, you. Soldiers patrolling the base at night passed by Tell's location. Advertisement. He looked at the child at Tyr's feet and was startled. I saw Tyr pinching the back of Momonosuke's neck, and then walking towards the prison where the pirates were imprisoned. When Chopper comes, ask him to come to the prison to see me. Yes. Walking through the dim corridor, Tyr came to the outside of the cage where Neko Viper and Inuarashi were held. I would like to negotiate with you, Fur Tribe leaders. Tyr looked at Inuarashi and Neko Viper, who were seriously injured and being treated. Momonosuke-sama. What happened? When the two of them saw Momonosuke's appearance, they dragged their injured body to the iron pole and greeted him. You are Inuarashi and Neko Viper. Momonosuke's eyes were filled with tears and he was in extreme pain. It's been more than 20 years, Momonosuke-sama. **. Cat Viper yelled at Tyr, what did you do to Lord Momonosuke? Be careful what you say, little kitten, or I'll chop your head off. Cat Viper reacted after being reminded by Tyr, and realized that he was in prison. If you stubborn fur tribesmen are not willing to serve me, you will die in this prison for the rest of your life. What on earth do you want to do? What is the purpose of kidnapping Lord Momonosuke? Inuarashi asked Tyr. Kanjuro, Kinemon has been killed by his command to the pirate empress. He is our enemy, Inuarashi, Neko Viper. Momonosuke's sudden toughness surprised Tyr. What, Kinemon? Kanjuro is dead. Haha. Tail played with the two P containers on his waist, which contained the abilities of Kanjuro and Kinemon respectively. They are Paramecia Fufu fruit and Paramecia Bibi fruit. They are all fruits that are more practical for life. Chopper opened the cell door and walked in carrying a medical kit with lipstick marks all over his face. The injured. Where is the injured? Chopper staggered to Tyr's side. Heal his leg, Chopper. I can still use him if I keep him. Tyr pointed to Momonosuke. As you command. No matter what, those who don't understand will be drowned in dead people's words for the rest of their lives. Tell put down these words and stood up to leave. Chopper, after treating him, put him in prison. Good. The son of destiny who changed the world has been killed by Tyr. It also means that after he came to this world, Luffy had already been replaced. The fate of destiny will definitely be with Tyr. After one slash with the Revolutionary Army, Teal still doesn't know why he couldn't use the 10th slash. With the dragon's strength and vitality at that time, it was no exaggeration to be killed instantly by Tyr with a single knife. Because Tyr's 10th slash was a comprehensive burst of real damage plus devastating damage, Long did not expect how terrifying Tyr's slash was at that time. Does this need cooling? After walking out of the prison, Tell walked on the dimly lit street and stared at the moonlight. Advertisement passing by a casino, Taylor suddenly backed up and stopped. Smile. Fujitora, who was gambling, was holding a large bowl of ramen and choked when Tai yelled. Ha 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 ha, let's go drink. Tail laughed heartily when he returned to the street, and the laughter spread to the streets and alleys. Of course, I know a little bit of everything. Taylor smiled at him. Guess, is it a big one, a small one, or a leopard? You've been gambling all day long and you've lost your eyesight. Why are you still so addicted to gambling? Oh, such a big bet. Are you going to go heaven defying, or are you going to find your own way back? Fujitora didn't know that the dice cover in front of him had been opened by Taylor. At least, it can stop the pirates for several years or decades. Bring me a bowl of ramen. No, 10 bowls, Tell ordered the staff. Put it there. It's 3 6s, Mr. Yishao. Come meet me, Mr. General. Picking up the dice in front of Fujitora, Taylor started shaking them. Get ready, smile, I need you in Wano country. Taylor quickly finished 10 bowls of ramen, got up and left the casino. Heaven defying, aren't you afraid of eternal destruction? The world government probably has a lot of hidden combat power. 10 bowls of ramen were placed in front of Taylor. Where are you going? Haha, do you also want to bet? Lord Sword God? Fujitora moved his ears and listened to the dice shaking in Tai's hand. I bet on fate, Taylor said harshly. When Teal placed the dice on the table, Fujitora frowned and smiled. Ha 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 ha, I didn't expect that you, Lord Sword God, can also gamble. Ha ha ha. Fujitora laughed after hearing what Teal said. Is there really peace in this world? Heaven defying is nothing more than disobeying the orders of the world government. Tyr's war against the 4 emperors has attracted the attention of the 5 elders. In the past, he could hear the number of dice with his ears, but now he could not judge the dice in Tyr's hand. Taylor walked into the tavern where Fujitora was. "Excuse me, what is the dice?" Fujitora asked the staff. Cutting off trade prevented the forces under the government from purchasing weapons, which also made them very angry. "The destination is peace. Don't dare to neglect." "Yes, Ma, we'll be here soon." Taylor's arrival shocked even the casino owner. "Let's find another way that doesn't anger them." Volume 2. End. Boom. I just do it for fun, not because I am addicted to gambling. Is this your destiny? You have to bet. Chapter 151, The Demon King of Sound. Hyuan calendar year 1522. Tyr stayed at Sword God Island for a whole year to recuperate his troops. On May 19, his 20th birthday, he dispatched about 200,000 troops and 250 warships. Start to stop the rampaging pirates in New World. About 100,000 gladiators named Spartan by Tyr, 50,000 marine soldiers on the G8 base, plus other base generals sent troops together. Such huge news naturally attracted close attention from the world government. Holy Land Marie Joya. Akainu was summoned to Pangu City by the 5 elders to discuss the matter of Tyr sending troops to obtain his consent. The troops are dispatched. Even the lieutenant generals near the G8 base were all dragged into the New World Marines' war against the 4 emperors. "Isn't this great?" Akainu, wearing a white suit and holding a cigar in his mouth, confronted the 5 people seriously. "This has already involved the government's interests. Are you worried that the casualties caused by this war will affect Tianlong's tax revenue in the world?" Akainu, who looked serious, roughly guessed that the interests that the 5 elders were worried about were the sharp decrease in income from various countries. Little did he know that Tyr's action this time only consumed a large amount of resources and Bailey on Sword God Island, but did not consume a cent from the Marine headquarters or the government at all. A total of 250 warships. This means a full-scale war breaks out. How many people will die in New World? The 5 elders continued to question Akainu. "Then if you don't eliminate the pirates, you don't have to die?" Akainu angrily scolded the 5 elders. "Haven't the red-haired pirates' forces killed enough people in the New World in the past year? Watch your tone, Sakaski." The moment the god of finance warned Sakaski, he was immediately stopped by the god of agriculture with his hand. "In short, you gave him the permission order. The responsibility for everything that happens in the New World rests entirely on you, Sakaski. As long as we can eliminate evil, what does responsibility mean? Where is that brat now? I heard Uda's concert in Irigia. And his devil fruit ability seems to have changed again. It can turn things into substantial blades. Can the sword energy left behind also permanently change the climate? In the past year, a powerful Logia fruit user named Pan Mu performed well in the world recruitment due to his excessive worship of Akainu. He was directly promoted to Marine General without exception. Including Aokiji, Kazaru, and Green Bull, Marine now has 4 generals in terms of combat power. Advertisement. In addition, Sword God Island is getting stronger and stronger, and even the government has to be on an equal footing with Marine. I don't know. Akainu fully supported Taylor's every move. His location can only be checked through surveillance. Now Tyr is in Urhia, and his ultimate goal is to lure out the red-haired man who has disappeared for a year. There are 2 subordinates following him, one is Hancock and the other is Chisha. They were waiting for Tyr's orders on the sea near Irigia. Is that big event going to happen again? Irigia. Did he have a premonition before going to Irigia? New World. The musical kingdom of Irigia. In the noisy and bustling huge concert venue, 20-year-old Teal was walking back and forth among the food vendors. Shank's daughter, Uda, opened the concert. The concert hasn't started yet, and nearly 1 million people from all over the world have gathered here, waiting for Uda's concert to start. Curry barbecue, you spent a total of 8,000 belly. Here you go, no need to change. Taylor handed the 10,000 Bailey's bill to the stall owner. Like a passerby, he stared at the big concert stage being prepared in the distance. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. Teal was pushed hard, and he staggered a few steps while wearing a marine duckbill hat. Standing in the middle of the street, don't you want to live? Sorry for blocking your way. Tyr calmly apologized to them. Then, he turned around and left, ate the barbecue in his hand, took out the wine and poured it into his mouth. Be careful in the future. I'll pay attention. I'm sorry for blocking your way. Hey, Captain, that guy is Marine. I don't want to talk to her too much. Sword roar. In the sky of the island, Tyr's 4 weapons were entangled with immeasurable sword energy and covered the entire island. Tel said, flying towards Uda's stage, coming to her and looking down at her. A demon shattered the space and came out from behind Uda and held her in his hands. Advertisement, killing. Killing? Is this the Demon King of Sound? Tyr grinned. Completely ignoring Shank's daughter, Uda's warning. Wrong. Tyr said, not caring about the lives of these pirates at all. Kill the pirates. Do you think that kind of thing can beat me? They looked back and saw Tyr appearing behind them instantly, staring at them coldly. The green lawns on the left and right sides of the concert were stained red by the blood rain, causing people who came to watch the concert to panic for a moment. Try Tyr held the hilt of the wailing knife and challenged her, trying to provoke her. The pirates who continuously produced sword sounds and flew into the air exploded and died in the air. Navy. You. Uda stood on the extended stage, his eyes suddenly shrank into thin needles and looked at Tyr's killing behavior. She took out an ancient parchment scroll and placed it in front of her. Tyr smiled when he saw it and did not stop her. The space was shattered. Uda was a little unbelievable. This is a concert I held for my fans, a concert that can make everyone happy and usher in a new era. Afterwards, powerful gas overflowed from Taylor's body and shuttled back and forth throughout the concert. The concert was ruined by Tell, and she sang the song in the parchment without any hesitation. Forehead. Even Uda was a little shocked, wondering how someone like Tyr could sneak in. I still want to go to Wano country to fight against Kaido. As for your secret of holding this concert, Marine has long known it. That guy is Marine's new general who was promoted a year ago. The audience suddenly discovered Teal's identity. The pirate captain poked his eyes with his fist and found that Tyr suddenly disappeared from his sight, not knowing what happened. So many lives died before her eyes, leaving her kneeling on the stage feeling overwhelmed. Several people were so frightened that they trembled, and their bodies were bound by the sudden sharp aura and floated into the air. No, this is my concert, even Marine can't hurt anyone. A beautiful voice warned Tyr from the back of the stage. Boom. Let's see if the red hair will come to save you. Yes, it's Marine. Tyr stretched his right arm into the space, took out the black knife and held it in his hand. Lock people into a dream for eternity? Tell revealed Uda's plan with one word. Chapter 152 Crush. Kidnap Uda. A huge creature composed of various musical instruments in the world, combined with Uda's Paramecia song fruit ability, was summoned from the alien world in space. The surrounding space changed, making Tyr feel like he was in the universe. There were all kinds of notes, floating back and forth around him. It's really sad that the Dead Point pirates are so irritating to you. Looking at the Demon King in front of him, Tyr's size began to gradually expand from 2 meters to about 4 meters before stopping. His whole body was covered with hard Phantom Beast inverse scales, and the black knife in his hand became larger due to the release of Tyr's sword energy, adjusting to the right size for his body. While enhancing body functions, it also increases strength, toughness, and smoothness. Then, Tyr screamed and waved the sword horizontally in his hand. Click. The space created by the Demon King of Sound was directly chopped into pieces by him, and the picture of reality and dream connecting together appeared in front of him. They all fell asleep. Teal looked at the countless people sleeping on both sides of the concert outside the space that he had chopped into pieces. And in the dream he was in, those people who hadn't discovered it yet were still running away towards the sea. Judgment Sword Array. Tyr raised his arm, and countless sword energy condensed into sword blades that overlapped around the Sound Demon King, gradually forming a cage that locked him and Tyr alone inside. The same devil fruit ability, even the ancient forbidden power of this world, is unable to compete with my ability. The sound of the sword echoed. Tyr followed the sword array and hit the sword on the wall of the sword array with his mournful blade. A terrifying sword cry was emitted from inside and instantly broke through the devil's musical defense. You are not the only one who plays music. The domineering power ignited in his hand made the Uda in the Demon King's hand look fearful and uneasy. Her consciousness has not yet been completely swallowed up. A sword energy compressed to the extreme was slashed out. Boom. Breaking through the defense in an instant, the Sound Demon King's body was cut in half, and the sword energy quickly rebounded against the wall of the Judgment Sword formation. It kept bouncing off the wall and cutting its body. This move was originally intended for Garp, but it's a pity that the power of the Judgment Sword formation was not shown to the world. Tyr reached out and pinched the center of the sword formation, summoning many swords containing terrifying power. His eyes ignited with sword light, and his left hand condensed the sword fingers and placed them in front of him. This or that knife just now broke through your defense, so there is no need to fight you in close combat anymore. Advertisement. Block. Ring. The sword blade obeyed Tyr's command and rushed out towards the Sound Demon's mutilated body. Ah! The devil's scream reached Tyr's ears. Tyr floated to the center of the sword array, overlooking the Sound Demon King below who was bombarded by the terrifying sword sounds and a large number of red sword blades. After a while, he turned into a pile of debris. Being wiped out by Tyr in the dreamland, Uda was left lying in the air with a face full of horror, his eyes staring at Tyr in disbelief. What kind of terrible ability do you have that you actually killed the devil? Tyr appeared in front of her in a flash, looking calmly at Uda whose face was full of fear and horror. Drink. Tyr condensed a large amount of sword energy on his sword finger, let out a mournful cry and flicked it violently towards the blade. Purifying sword cry. Ding. A sword sound without any lethality turned into a barrier and spread around, and the dream space created by Uda's ability was instantly broken. Everyone in the space is awakened to reality. Your singing voice is very beautiful, but I want to use you to kill the red-haired pirates. Kill Shanks. Uda's energy was exhausted and his eyes were dull. Tyr pulled out the sleeping bottle from his waist and forced it into her mouth to make her fall asleep. Damn it, what's going on? Hey, even if you are Marine General, don't kidnap Uda. Her singing is our hope for survival. Tyr ignored them and flew directly to the location of the large Marine ship. Damn Marine. Don't take away our hope. Uda was his target here, and these people who came to watch the concert were somewhat angry. He went all the way to New World to watch Uda's concert, but was disrupted by Taylor. On the sparkling sea, Tyr brought Uda back to the warship under the scorching sun. What's going on over there in Eregia just now, Tyr? It's okay, we fought for a while. Tyr put down Uda and walked to Chisha. You can lock her up. This is musician Uda. She has fans all over the world. You kidnapped her? In order to destroy the 4 emperors, I had to do this. Advertisement. Now Tyr's strength can definitely do it, and he has absolute confidence and determination. New World, the red-haired pirate group who retreated to heal their wounds, saw all the happenings in Eregia through a live broadcast on an island square. Veins covered his forehead, and Shanks looked extremely pale. How did that guy discover Uda? The government has investigated. Boss, are you going to rescue Uda? I haven't heard him sing for a long time, Lakiru said. Today's red-haired pirates no longer have the lively atmosphere they had before after suffering a heavy blow from Tyr, who risked his life last time. Everyone is very heavy. Big Mom is going to join forces with Kaido to fight against Marine's elimination. Beckman, who had broken his arm, said, maybe this is an opportunity, boss. Damn it, I should have killed that brat when we first met. Shanks smashed the bottle into the ground and complained sternly. If Tyr had been killed directly, the 4 emperors would not be so passive in the New World now. 250 warships are enough to destroy any evil force in the world. Shanks stood up and looked at his partner with a serious face. This is a battle related to our survival. The red historical text was destroyed by that brat. Finding the great secret treasure is no longer achievable. Give the order. This is the last battle. Boss. The sailor of the red-haired pirate group hurriedly ran from the coast. Rayleigh, Silbaz, wants to see you. Mr. Rayleigh. Shanks was a little shocked. This visitor really surprised him. Rayleigh could be said to be half of his master. Quick, ask someone to prepare food and wine. Shanks himself went to the dock to meet Rayleigh. Under the scorching sun, the 2 people on the dock looked at each other, and Shanks was a little worried about Rayleigh's mental state. That dazed expression seemed to have been severely injured before. Mr. Rayleigh. In the battle on 9 Snake Island, he was almost killed by Tyr with a knife. Now the world situation is gradually dominated by Marine. As the top figures in the pirate force, they have to stand up to maintain the status of pirates in the New World. Long time no see, Shanks. The last time we met was 14 years ago, right? Rayleigh smiled when she saw Shanks. A plan for Operation Tell was launched at the same time. Chapter 153 Landing. The world's most powerful country sends troops. After leaving Eregia, the warship group under Tyr cleaned up the violent pirates on the sea at an extremely terrifying speed. No matter which pirate group they were all defeated by the combat power of 250 mid to high-level Marines. This military operation caused some pirates who only knew how to plunder to stop a lot. The waters of Wano country. The sky is filled with dark clouds and the storm is raging. Sea stacks like mountains block the progress of hundreds of warships. What should we do, Mr. General? The storm is too big. If we don't think of a way, the warship will be sucked into the vortex. The sword rises. More than 250 ships, all floated from the sea the second that Tyr raised his arm in the air. All the soldiers showed panic expressions. They were so shocked by Tyr's power that they could only be described as monsters. This is the power of a general, it's so powerful. A super-huge fleet group composed of Shichibukai, Marine, Spartan gladiators, Murloc warriors, and Fur warriors, was brought into the country of Wano by Tyr using his own abilities. Pass through the sea below the harsh climate of Wano and arrive at the Rinkai above Wano. Boom! Hundreds of warships fell into the sea like raindrops, splashing several feet of water. All warships entered the clear waters near Wano country. Don't hug me, you stupid woman. Zoro blushed with honey and was hugged by Daisuke. When she fell from the air, she was unstable and had to find the nearest and most stable object to hug tightly. Roronoa, I am your boss, wouldn't you worry about your boss's safety? Damn. Let me go. Why did that guy assign me to you? Zoro felt very shy. Being hugged by a friend who looked exactly like him when he was a kid. I don't know what happened, but since Tyr hired a Straw Hat Gang member as a Marine thug, we have nothing to say. Huo Shaoshan was not surprised by what happened on the warship commanded by Daisuke. They have been quarreling every day since they got together. Advertisement, but that guy is so happy. The pirate empress actually stayed by his side obediently. Shut up, you pig-brained idiot. The ghost spider immediately scolded him angrily when he saw that he was crazy. I have been lustful since I was young and have not stopped now in my middle age. You can't control that woman. At present, no one in the world can control Hancock except Teal. General Tyr, do we want to attack? It seems that all the spies of the Beast Pirates have escaped. Currently, the strongest and meatiest pirate group in the New World is undoubtedly the Four Emperors Kaido. Tyr looked deeply at the desolate area ahead and said calmly. First establish a command post in the desolate area ahead. It's better for the Four Emperors not to attack rashly. Ah! The soldiers who heard Tyr's words also felt incredible. When did Tyr become so indecisive? According to his character a year ago, he would go to war directly. The total strength reaches 300,000, and the troops must be divided into several groups to fight. If the plenary meeting is gathered together, it may not have any substantive effect at all. Now, he must also assign combat routes to each lieutenant general. Give me the map of Wano, Tyr said to Hancock behind him. Hancock handed the pre-arranged documents to Teal. That Kaido is the most powerful creature on land, sea, and air. It's okay for you to worry. Take your time. After all, my goal is to completely eradicate the inheritance of will in this world. According to Tyr's meticulous plan, the country of Wan will most likely cease to exist in the end. Look, teacher, I will personally bring an end to the ridiculous era you created. Tyr began to command the fleet group to land ashore, and the agents of the Beast Kaido pirates patrolled. Already frightened by such a huge fleet, he hurriedly went to Ghost Island to report the news. On a small island near New Marineland, Sengoku, who was a chief inspector but was ordered by Akainu to train recruits, turned gray. His skin was wrinkled and his face was pale as he lay paralyzed in the infirmary. What's wrong with you, Sengoku? He crossed his arms over his chest, frowning and staring at Sengoku's painful expression. I don't know, it's like I have some terminal illness. Unknowingly, my body hurts day by day, as if my nerves and bones have been cut. The great inspector of the Warring States period. Still can't find anything wrong. The doctor reported the condition to the Warring States period, feeling a little regretful. Advertisement now sang Guo's health is deteriorating every day, and he even needs a cane to walk. And it was all Teal's doing. Although it is not fatal, it is still enough to torture people. I heard the news that you were seriously ill, so I came here to visit you, Warring States. You are so gentle as always, Xiaohei, ha ha ha. Warring States laughed happily in a hoarse voice, letting he inspect him. He took off his gloves and searched for the source of his illness on Sengoku's body. But through his ability, he discovered that what caused Sengoku's body to decline day by day was the sharp aura like a living thing. This is. After he activated the fruit washing ability to wash the aura out of Sengoku's body, she stared at the thing in her hand in shock. Warring States was also attracted by his expression and turned around to stare at the familiar scent in her hand. Huh? This is it, it was Ty's sword energy left in his body? Oh, it seems he hates you so much. Teal did it. Warring States recalled Tyr's strange behavior in the meeting a year ago. Neck. He angrily covered his neck. I just said how could you be sick, but this is also his punishment for you, right? Punishment. Warring States' expression became a bit gloomier. Maybe I should have cared about his mental state. Was I too mean? He didn't blame Tyr, even though his body was no longer what it used to be. Alas, this era is now revolving around him, and the five elders dare not criticize him openly. I heard that the new kid asked Akainu to take the initiative to assist Tyr in his military operations in the New World. That's right, Pan Mu proposed to go to Wano country to fight against the Four Emperors with Tyr. There is new news on Elbaf's side. Sakaski is getting information about whether to support him again. I was wrong, ha ha ha, when he put me under house arrest, things at sea had nothing to do with me. The world is in chaos. If the world's most powerful country sends troops, how should that kid respond? Elbaf. The Warring States period is now about training soldiers and living a leisurely island life. In the face of the huge achievements in the old era, no one made any specific crime against him. Now, under the plan of Red Hair and Rayleigh, Elbaf stepped out of the kingdom for the first time and headed to Wano country to the west of Elbaf. An unprecedented huge war is quietly approaching the country of Wano. Chapter 154 Wano Country, The Lustful General, First Day Ashore. The wilderness of Nozomigo in the northern part of Wano. The rivers here are polluted, and an antidote needs to be developed. Tyria squatted behind Chopper, watching him holding a dropper bottle to steady the river near the Nozomi Township wasteland. The fresh water carried on the warships is enough for 300,000 troops to drink for half a month. Can you research the antidote? Tyr said to Chopper. Of course. I'm a doctor. After touching Chopper's head with his hand, Tyr said to him, come on, and left the river. Go back to your office and lie on the chair. You two really don't dare to use troops. Tyr looked at Charlotte Linlin and Kaido's bounty. 4.6111 billion Bailey, the strongest creature in the world. Kaido's pressure on Tyr is stronger than the pressure brought by the red hair, because his body, even the black sword, does not wrap around Sakura or conquerors. It is impossible to break the defense at all. Hancock came from his station to the Tyr headquarters tent and locked the door curtain. Are you going to be a monk? B**********D. Don't touch me for a year. She directly pushed Tyr onto the chair. The moment her slender fingers touched Tyr's body, Ty was instantly petrified. You. Hancock looked at the stone statue of Tell angrily. If you have feelings for me, why? She unpetrified Tyr. Why don't you give me a happy life? Let go, Hancock. Didn't I make a promise to you? Teal felt troubled by Hancock's abilities. As a man, there is no way he can resist her, but when can that kind of agreement be realized? It's coming soon. Teal squeezed Hancock's hand, stood up instantly and threw her to the sofa. He quickly ran out of the tent. You be **************** D. You're an irresponsible brat. Hancock bit his lip, feeling very itchy. Why did you take away everything from me? To tease other girls? Is this the legendary cheating? The strong possessive desire made Hancock want to kill all the women who came close to Tyr, but she did not dare to ignore Tyr's orders. After leaving his tent, Tyr took a deep breath at the sky. He knew that he must bear the consequences of the sins he had done. It's really a headache. General Tyr, the report on Wano's potential military strength has been released. Leave it to you to handle it. I'm going to the Flower City for a stroll. Tyr put on a black and white feather fabric and threw Chisha away, flying towards the volcano in the distance. Advertisement, I told you to wake up. I didn't tell you to abstain from S****X. Chisha sighed. Oh, forget it. Teal was not completely abstinent. As he grew older, he reached the age of 20, when hormones are at their strongest. He is restraining himself in his own way, not indulgent, but becoming lustful. At the mouth of the volcano behind the capital of flowers, Tyr stood in the air overlooking the boiling magma inside. How long has it been since this broke out? As he said that, he looked at the bustling streets of the Flower City in front of him. It's hard to imagine how a retro town before the volcano was built can continue to this day. Soon, Tyr, with a black knife hanging from his waist, came to a deserted tree-lined path and strolled into the lively market of the flower capital. Isn't this a certain country in ancient times? Tell said casually with a satisfied look on his face. Wherever Tyr passed, many warriors with weapons hanging on their waists looked at Tyr seriously. What are you looking at? Tyr glared at them directly, pointed at them with his finger and shouted. The warriors also believed Tyr's actions completely. There have been flower-picking thieves and murderers recently at night. We are suspicious of you. You look very similar, with so many scars on your body. Tyr panicked and looked down at the scars on his body. What the hell is this? But you can't be judged as a murderer just by the hideous scars on your body. But what's going on with the knife on your waist? It smells terrible. The warriors had very serious expressions and looked all over Tyr's body. Having been with knives all their lives, they noticed at a glance that Tyr was no ordinary person. Black knife? Black knife, does it violate the laws of the Flower City? No. Black Knife has a high status as a warrior. After hearing this, Tyr's mouth twitched and he cursed angrily. Then why are you staring at me so fiercely? It's bad luck. As he spoke, Tyr looked for the scent of wine in the air and walked into a flower shop unknowingly. Countless beauties wearing cool and bold clothes made Tyr salivate. Fortunately for him, no one in Wano knew his identity. The moment the liquor entered his throat, a spicy throat feeling invaded Tyr's whole body. So handsome. Hey. This samurai lord is a little handsome. The madam greeted Tyr immediately when he saw him entering the store. How can anyone care about themselves? Advertisement. Girls, come in quickly and entertain our samurai master. The flower shop madam called a group of young and beautiful girls into the house based on Tyr's age. The beast Kaido pirates are not here, but there is a powerful samurai. The person that Tyr sensed was called Kwangshiru. He was the strongest guard of the current general of Wano country and the most ruthless gangster force in the flower capital. Tyr choked and pushed them away and said, the flower shop he was in was not far from the general's mansion. F***K. Good wine. For his body, strong liquor is a good body-refining nectar. Finally, they were not served by a bunch of obese old men, which made them happy. After entering the house, they were also surprised by Tyr's good looks and immediately stood on both sides of Tyr to serve him. The eyeballs turn red and activate the sense of sight, color, and breath. Okay, I know you can't wait any longer, so I'll make arrangements for you. The madam stretched out her hand to Tell, gesturing for him to take out his money and see his strength. Of course I'm handsome, I know that. He is still a talented gentleman, I like him so much. She held Tyr's arm and said, oh, you've come to the right place. What's your name? I heard it, I will definitely serve you well. As he grew older, Tell began to enjoy life. Compared to Hancock's active attitude, he now prefers to appreciate passive and unobtainable things. This made the madam dumbfounded on the spot. A glass was about one tael, and Ty poured the wine directly into his mouth to taste it. Sword. Person? Taylor touched the feather fabric and placed a stack of about 1 million Bailey's bills in her hand. Go. Show me your talents. Tyr lay on his side on the floor and took the glass of wine poured by the beautiful girl next to him. The madam also grinned, a little speechless. I want the strongest wine, boss lady, don't bring it if it's less than 50 degrees. With such a large sum of money, the madam took Ty to the top room by the window to wait. You can call me. Tyr thought about the name without revealing his name, Swordman. The window of the room faced the street, so I sat down inside, raised my head and stretched out the window to look at the general's mansion in the center of the Flower City. I will arrange for you the top-notch girl with the best skills. Don't be so anxious to contact us, let us develop slowly. But I will never do anything indecent to them. Tisk. Mr. GN is fine, too. Oh, stop inking. I have money, so hurry up and get me something good-looking to cheer me up. Tyr was a little anxious. Chapter 155 Wano Country. Late-night murderer. The news of the warship landing and setting up camp reached Kaido's ears and immediately spread the influence under his command. Kurozumi, who was working with Kaido, immediately fell into panic after hearing the news. Crazy death man. We are in for a disaster. At the banquet at the general's mansion, a bald, burly man with purple hair was holding a glass of wine and expressing his fears. On the seat next to him, a man with light blue hair, with a huge wig, at the top, wearing a high-collar cloak, squinted and smiled. Don't worry, General, I will protect you to the death, haha. Kurozumi held the wineglass and felt relieved by Kurozuro's words. As expected of you, Kwangshilong, it's really reassuring. Most people in Wano have never heard of the news about the outside world, so Kwangshiro has no idea how terrifying the marine who arrived this time is. Late at night, the bright moon hung high in the sky, and Tyr walked out of the flower shop with a wine jar and looked up at the sky with a lipstick on his face. The moonlight is so beautiful. Drunkenness made his eyes blurred, and he indulged in the music of singing, dancing and piano all day long. Tell showed a faint smile and put the wine jar on his shoulders, walking leisurely on the street with the smell of wine all over his body. Perhaps this is my life after retirement. It was as if he had seen through the turmoil of the world, and there was only peace and relief left in his heart. The moonlight shone on his face, reflecting his cold and firm eyes, like a clear lake, revealing the deep feelings in his heart. Passing by a closed street in the Flower City, a chill came from the nearby eaves and entered Tyr's senses. He stopped and stood there, picked up the wine jar and took a deep drink. Feeling the pungency in his throat, Tyr said, "It's so strong, my body is numb from the alcohol." The killer in the black ninja costume on the eaves was treating Tyr as his hunting target tonight. This is the drunkard with all the flaws. The ninja pulled out his samurai sword, and the bright silver sword light flashed on Tyr's body in the darkness. This made the ninja quickly become vigilant, but they still found Tell standing staggering and not moving. Are you so drunk that you lose consciousness? Haha. He jumped off the eaves and stood beside Tyr and approached with a knife. The drunk Tyr slowly turned to look at him. The smell of blood is not as strong as mine, how dare you approach me? Ah, what are you talking about? Forget it, he is just a dead person who will be discussed by the public tomorrow. Clearly, the man had no idea what Teal was talking about. He slashed at Tell's neck decisively with the knife, intending to kill him with one blow as he usually did when committing crimes. Advertisement. The blade cut through the air, and when it was about to hit Tyr's body, Tyr turned sideways. As a result, he slashed the air with his sword, causing sparks to rub against the ground. Tyr immediately stepped forward, stepped on the knife on the ground and said, I don't want to get involved in the folk affairs of your country, but are you too stupid to regard me as a target for killing? The man suddenly discovered that no matter how hard he tried with his hands, he couldn't pull the blade out of Tyr's feet. With a click, the handle and blade of the knife were torn off by him, and he was pulled away and fell to the ground. Who are you? Taylor opened his hands and looked at himself. I seem to be a drunkard. The late-night patrol officers carrying lanterns near the flower capital noticed something moving here and immediately walked towards Tell. Damn it. I met a master. Several darts suddenly shot out from his arm, but Tyr easily turned around and dodged them. Seeing Tell's skill, the man took out a smoke bomb and threw it on the ground and was about to run away, but Tell grabbed his belt. No one has ever been able to kill me in front of me and still live normally. After saying that, Tell kicked his legs off, then disabled his arms, leaving him lying on the ground screaming in pain. Murderer. After Tyr carved 3 words on the ground with his sword energy, he drunkenly walked towards the forest outside the west side of the Flower City. Arriving at a lake, Tell sat by the lake and watched the starless night sky. This life seems pretty good. In this way, on the second day after he arrived in Wano country, he lay down by the lake with a knife and a jar of strong liquor and fell asleep. It was as if he was not in the enemy's territory, but in his own back garden. Early the next morning, as soon as Tyr opened his cold eyes, he found that he was tied to a wooden stake. He's awake. The speaker was a little girl with purple hair, wearing a kimono, and she looked very cute and attractive. So cute. Tyr didn't care that he was tied with a rope, but his eyes lit up and he praised the little girl in front of him. He's a samurai from the Flower City, we have to put him to death. But, so much money was found on him, it's enough to feed our whole village for several years. Nugasa village is a poor village located on the west side of Wano country. After Kaido occupied this place, they often didn't have enough food or clothing to keep them warm, and the water they drank was river water polluted by weapons factories. Overall, in Tyr's eyes, it looked very poor. Advertisement. My money, Teal shouted as he looked at the 9 million belly banknotes. Wait, you want to execute me? Tyr was a little strange, he just fell asleep by the lake. When you wake up, you will be executed by a group of Wano country villagers. That's right. How many of us have starved to death due to this disgusting high-ranking official? Get it clear. My hair has no rights in the Flower City. The villagers felt that what Taylor said made sense. Generally, warriors who control powerful powers are bald on their heads. That is to say, Yu takes the lead, but except for the scary eyes, Tyr is really harmless to humans and animals elsewhere. Then what did you get for so much money? A total of 9 million belly. My own. As he said that, Tyr's expression suddenly became serious. I sensed a weapon with a strong aura in the nearby forest. She's so cute, do you want to follow me? Tyr said to the little girl in front of him. Follow you. The little girl was a little at a loss. There is food and drink, and I will never let you go hungry. Really? But you are tied up, how can you give me food? Tyr exerted a little force on his arms, and the rope that bound him broke instantly. Then, Tell walked up to the girl and looked at her. Break free? Why? Is he that strong? The villagers retreated. This scene made the little girl feel familiar. Ace, she subconsciously shouted Fire Fist's name. Ace? Tyr's mind was also full of questions. Do you know him? Of course. Brother Ace is a man who brings us warmth. May I have your name? Ayu. Well, Ayu, the Ace you were talking about has already been executed by me in front of the world. Teal told her the truth directly. Huh? When Ayu heard this, her pupils instantly shrank into thin needles, and she looked at Tyr with an extremely desperate expression. Chapter 156 Wano Country, Purchase Ayu. He is dead. His younger brother, grandfather, and the whole family were killed by me. Why? Why? Because their family has offended me. The warm side of pirates is not common here in Tyr. No matter what good deeds Ace has done, nothing can make up for his sins. Different positions and different emotions. Are you kidding? Ayu suddenly shouted loudly. He mustered up the courage to run towards Tyr, crying and hitting Tyr with all his strength with his weak fists. Brother Ace, he is very gentle. Ayu beat Tyr until tears streamed down his face, and finally squeezed Tyr's feathers. Ayu promised him that she would grow into enchanting beauty and wait for him. Pick up Ayu. Feeling Ayu's mood swings, Tyr sympathized with her but had no feelings for Ace. The pirate gadget created by Garp deserves death no matter who it is. After a while, due to exhaustion of physical strength and emotional reasons, Ayu passed out while holding Tyr's black and white Haori. He fell at Tyr's feet, his face ashen as death. Get out! Mr. Ace is our benefactor. You actually killed him. All the villagers yelled at Tyr, and Ace's death made them very angry with Tyr. What's the benefit of treating a pirate as a benefactor? I don't fully understand your feelings. Although I don't know if what you said is true, I know from your eyes that you must be a great evil person. You must have killed a lot of people. B*****************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************̈̈ with anyone in the sea, he would not sympathize with him. He pinched Ayu's kimono belt with his fingers, stood up and looked at the villagers. I'll give you two choices. I'll exchange 9 million for this girl. If she follows me, she can have enough food and clothing. Ah, do you want us to betray Ayu? No? Then give me the money back? Under the temptation of 9 million belly, the hungry villagers could hardly resist the temptation. With money, they can buy all the supplies they want. The Kaido pirates of the 100 Beasts have not come to plunder the village these days, and they do not know the news of Ty's arrival, suppressing the 2-4 Emperor's pirates. Let them hide in the Ghost Island and are negotiating a battle plan to deal with Tyr. Wait. As long as you take Ayu away, can you give us the money and not hurt us? That's right. Tyr grinned. Hey, Ayu is an important villager in our village. Do you have to betray him for such a small amount of money? But, this is 9 million belly, enough for us to live for several years. Advertisement, clean water and food, seeds, we can get everything we want with this money. Under the temptation of money in their situation, they finally decided to exchange Ayu for the 9 million baileys looted from Tyr. Tyr also carried Ayu's body, which was only 1 meter long, and walked towards the forest in the north of Wily village. Not long after entering the forest, Tell was stopped by an old man wearing a Tengu mask and clogs. Put Ayu down, he warned Tyr. Put your hands on your waist, always ready to draw your sword. Why? I bought this. Bought? The man in the Tengu mask was stunned. Yes, 9 million belly can buy a hungry little girl, which is not bad. Tyr was mainly interested in her cute appearance. 9 million. What, you want to take her away from me? Tyr stared coldly at the man's waist. Tyr would kill him as soon as he drew his sword. No, Ayu is my friend, I can't let you take her away. Friend? Then what do you have that can be exchanged for her? This. If not, then goodbye. Seeing Tyr go away, the man in the Tengu mask never said anything. He originally wanted to exchange the weapons at home with Tyr, but when he felt the blade on Tyr's waist, he knew that Tyr was no ordinary person. If Tyr is interested in the other two blades, something will be wrong. Perhaps it would be a good ending for you to be bought away, Ayu. At least you won't have to starve anymore. Noon. Tyr returned to the marine base in the Nozomi Township wasteland from Wily Village. Walking into the camp, the girl in kimono the tail was carrying attracted everyone's attention. Chopper. Stop indulging in the happiness of the fur tribe and come and check this little girl's body, Tyr ordered to Chopper. Hey, Zoro shouted to Tyr from behind Dusky, when are we going to attack Wano? Don't be impatient, Roronoa Zoro, you will become stronger as time goes by. Entering the military doctor's tent, Tyr handed Ayu to Chopper for treatment and walked out of the tent. Mr. Admiral. The communications soldier came to tell. Sakaski Fleet Admiral sent an order, saying that General Green Bull is coming to the country of Wano to reinforce your military operations. Panic Mew. Tyr's mouth twitched. In the medical tent, Chauba injected Ayu with nutrient solution in a needle, and then stayed by her side to observe. The most ironic thing is that Vegapunk escaped to the New World with Zon Momomaru, betraying Marine and also betraying the world government. Huh? Taylor was a little shocked by the news. Advertisement? Ace, Luffy's monkey clan, including Sabo, were all killed by Tyr himself. By? Chopper was a little unbelievable. Kizaru and Aokiji were transferred to the Four Seas and Grand Line to clean up the corruption within Marine. Where did our sword god general go to be cool last night? There were so many lipstick and lip marks on his face. Tyr didn't understand what kind of alliance Shanks had with them, so Elbaf was willing to send troops to fight against him for Shanks. The internal battles within Marine are also very fierce. Many corrupt Marines even join pirates in order to keep the huge sums of money they have embezzled for many years. He personally recruited Green Bull into Marine. Within this year, because he wanted to test Tyr's strength, he made a big fuss on Sword God Island and was subdued by Tyr. Even if you don't tell her, she will know sooner or later. Bought it for 9 million belly. Teal, where did you save this little girl? Thank you for your hard work, keep working. Tell briefly communicated with the lieutenant generals and returned to the tent to wait. Any other news? Yes, he also knows Fire Fist Ace. Yes. Red-haired Shanks and his allied pirate group, the giant warriors of Elbaf, the world's most powerful country, are on their way to Wano country. A large amount of technology was also transferred by the betrayed Marine, including pacifist technology. But, Ace and the others are all attracted by you, Chopper choked, unable to speak. His strong strength was exceptional and he was directly promoted to general. After hearing this, Taylor remembered that he had gone to the flower shop and drank wine all day. Tyr has absolute trust in Sakaski, and the combat effectiveness he brings is not weak at all. Long-term pain is worse than short-term pain. That's all for now, General. Bori Village has sold her to me, and I'm taking good care of her, Chopper. What? You actually let such a little girl suffer such a blow? You are so bad. The Green Bull sent by the Marine headquarters was probably Tyr's final support for this operation. He quickly wiped it off and gave Duoer an awkward smile. Don't worry, Dole, just believe in my current strength. I've told her the truth. Elbaf is in the Marine records, but he has not sent any troops abroad for 800 years. I am becoming more and more like a man, but how will I deal with Elbaf when he sends troops? The soldiers left, and Tyr turned around and saw Lieutenant General Duoer smoking a cigarette and looking at Tyr's face with a smirk on his face from a D Chapter 157 The Country of Wano, Tianyu Yuzan, and Yama. After buying Xiaoyu for treatment, Tyr handed her over to Chopper. He tied Momonosuke with a dog leash and took Zoro through the vine jungle and arrived at a building that looked like a local cultural festival in Wano. My ability has now been developed to the point where I can sense the existence of a powerful sword. So what? Zoro, who was following Tyr, was confused and didn't understand what he was doing looking at the temple dozens of meters above his head. You seem to have made rapid progress recently. I plan to give you some rewards, Roronoa. I don't understand, what do you want to give me? Tyr took out the first-generation Kitetsu, raised it above his head and stared at the temple above through the sunlight. There are 3 swords in that room, one of which has the same aura as the third-generation Kitetsu on your waist. Could it be? Zoro suddenly understood what Tyr was talking about. There are 3 third-generation ghosts in total, first generation, second generation, and third generation. The first generation is now in Tyr's hands, and the third generation is on Zoro's waist. Follow me. Tell jumped up to the temple along the vines and came to the Mingshen gate in front of the temple gate. These architectural styles are very disgusting to tell, even disgusting. All the culture and clothing of Wano disgusted Tai to the extreme. It was something engraved in his bones that made him hate these buildings. Hey! Zoro climbed up and looked at the dying Momonosuke in Tyr's hands. If you continue to torture him like this, he will die. It doesn't matter if he dies, he will die in the end anyway, Tell said calmly. He didn't think anything was wrong with Momonosuke's miserable state at all. Whatever you want, I'm already a prisoner, there's no reason to stop you. Zoro's only concern now is to ensure the safety of Robin and Nami. He doesn't care about other things at all. Following Tell to the temple gate, he saw Tell slashing open the door and walking in. Huh? Zoro, as a swordsman, immediately recognized the knife hanging on the wall in the temple. You sense it, right? Tell smiled, not caring whose temple this was or which god of Wano was enshrined. He sucked directly at the second-generation Kitetsu above and sucked the blade into his hand. The restless aura on the second-generation ghost was instantly suppressed by Tyr. Show me. Zoro walked up to Tyr with interest and said. Well, I should be able to master it. After feeling the demonic aura on the second-generation Kitetsu, Zoro's current strength and courage were able to suppress it, so Terba didn't even pull it out, but handed it to him directly. Advertisement, Yao Sword. The aura is stronger than that of third-generation Kitetsu. Could it be that this is second-generation Kitetsu? That's right, study it carefully. If you can, give me the Kyushui and give it to you too. Really? Zoro was surprised. His swordsmanship is 3-sword style, and I would like to know how he can improve using 3 swords at the same time. I'm not stingy at all, Zoro, as long as you master them. Tyr walked towards the breath of the other 2 knives. When he came to a statue in a temple, he reached out and took out a box from under the table. It's the demon knife again. Tyr was shocked. How terrifying is it that a temple possesses 2 demon swords with terrifying auras at the same time? Opening the box, Tell saw 2 scabbards with flower-like carvings and a 3-petal blade. One handle is purple and the other is white. The purple sword is a demon sword. The moment it sees the light, it releases the domineering energy in the sword. Father, wow wow. Momonosuke burst into tears after seeing the 2 knives. It seems that you are very familiar with these 2 knives, Momonosuke. That's my father's sword, Tnu Yuzan and Enmo, what are you going to do? Momonosuke cried after being tortured for several days. Since it is Kazuki Oden's weapon, I will take it away. No, you can't, that's a relic left by our father to us. Tyr ignored Momonosuke and reached out directly to take it out. The moment he pulled out the scabbard, the domineering energy in his body was actively released by it. This made Tyr grit his teeth and smile, a little angry. Boom. The violent domineering energy in his body was like something out of control, drowning the entire temple in an instant. He saw that the bones of Momo's assistant's feet were all dislocated and his face was bruised and swollen from torture. Of course I know this, Fei Che suddenly yelled angrily. Ha, Tyr grinned and slashed at him with a knife. What a terrible domination. You guy, Zoro said in shock. Hey, kid, who is that in your hand? Ei's slash was instantly broken by Tyr, and he slashed Feichi in the chest, causing him severe injuries. He quickened his pace. Advertisement: the people near the temple were rushing back to see this scene, namely Momonosuke's grandfather and Kazuki Oden's father. A domineering sword shot sword into the sky, and he swung the uncontrollable domineering sword with all his strength. Ei suddenly made a sudden attack with his sword and slashed towards Tyr. However, through observation of mood swings, he found that the relationship between Fado and Momonosuke must be very good. Ah, this is the country of Waka captured by Tyr. He is said to be the son of Oden. His crime is unpardonable. Who are you? The guy who broke into someone else's house without permission. Is that guy? He recognized Tyr, who was carrying Ayu before. I'll let you vent if you're angry. Tyr suddenly waved his domineering right arm, which was out of control. As Momonosuke's grandfather, he naturally couldn't bear it. The Yama in Tyr's hand was gradually suppressed by Tyr's aura, and the out-of-control domineering energy turned into a very stable domineering airflow surrounding the blade. You are the first one who dares to put a knife in my hand. B********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** weak, Tyr said coldly, turning his back to Fei Che. Tyr put the submerged sword back into its scabbard, and then floated Tianyu into the air. He practiced with Tyr's help for a year, and his strength increased a lot, but he still found that he could not compete with the current Tyr. Ah! Fei Che screamed repeatedly. Momonosuke and Zoro were knocked back by the out-of-control domineering impact of Tyr. Run! Don't come closer. After Zoro saw Fei Che, he immediately stopped him from getting closer. What happened? Is that terrifying domineering Kaido? Can I touch the level of monsters like you in the future? Zoro was shocked when he saw Tyr's slash. Of course Fakey understands this. His true identity is Oden's father, Sukiyaki. When he came to the door of his own Myojin, he saw Zoro holding Momonosuke, with the autumn water in his hands inserted into the ground to resist the shockwave of Ty's domineering power. It spread to the Flower City neighborhood outside the east side of the jungle before stopping. Appointed as General of Wano, do you care about him? Tyr didn't know Fei Che's identity. A terrifying earth-shattering abyss shocked everyone. And Tyr held the knife and tasted the violent Yama. The arrogance was suppressed, and the submergence instantly obeyed the power of Tyr. The power is no less powerful than his sword god / first style, heavenly punishment, and its huge domineering force splits the huge vine forest into two. Damn it. It was Ayu before, but this time it's my relative. I will never forgive you. Fei Che was so angry that he couldn't calm down. Chapter 158 The Beastly Behavior of the Kozuki Clan in Wano Country. The moment he drew the sword, his position had already been exchanged with Fei Che's. With just one move, Fei Che felt a chill in his heart and realized that it was impossible to defeat Tyr. So strong. Fei Che suffered heavy injuries and knelt on the huge vines in front of the temple. Please, leave Momonosuke to me. It doesn't matter if you take those 3 blades away. Impossible. Taylor refused directly. When he found out it was Fei Tetsu, he had no intention of being polite and planned to forcibly snatch Tianyu Yuzan, and Mo, and second-generation Gui Tetsu. Because, before, Fei Che wanted to use the sword-drawing technique to kill Tyr. Tyr walked up to him and looked at him. Looking at your age, you must be in your 70s or 80s. Why is there Odin's knife? Fei Te held the bleeding scar on his chest and looked at Momonosuke. I am Kazuki Odin's father. As soon as he signed up, Tyr cut his throat with a first-generation ghost sword. Ahem. Why? Fei Che covered his neck, his body lost the strength to rely on the tree trunk, and finally fell from the huge vine. The last time he looked at Tyr, he couldn't believe that Tyr would kill him directly. Tyr stared at Fei Che, who fell from the vine with an indifferent expression and died on the spot. We are just sinners. Death is not a pity. Decades ago, the story of Kazuki Odin's samurai deeds spread throughout the sea. An extremely disgusting deed, favored by many pirates, especially the Roger pirates who personally went to the waters near Wano to meet him. When Kazuki Odin was young, he robbed someone else's married wife in the flower capital, starting the biggest harem chaos in the history of Wano. That is to say, being a cuckold in front of other people's husbands. Zoro ran to the edge of the vines, looked at Sukiyaki who was thrown to death below, and felt cold-blooded about what Tyr had done. Father and son, your family of 3 is almost the same. Tyr pinched the desperate Momonosuke from Zoro's hand. He grabbed his neck and continued walking towards the flower capital. When they arrived at the flower capital, Tyr held Momonosuke in his hand and played with him openly in front of everyone. Hey, why are you torturing a child? How cruel, he is still a child. Some warriors who were aggrieved and felt that Tyr's actions were wrong stood up and asked. Advertisement, someone asked you something, Tyr. Seeing that Tyr was disapproving, Zoro reminded. Tyr was sitting on the table of a ramen stall, stepping on Momonosuke's body to eat noodles, and had no intention of paying attention to the group of samurai. As more and more citizens came over, some of Momonosuke's friends also discovered this. In the eyes of these citizens, Tel was a child abuser and extremely cruel. Seeing that the matter was getting worse, Tyr had to put down the bowl in his hand, stood up, pinched Momonosuke's neck and looked at everyone. Do you know who this guy is in my hand? Who knows? Isn't it a child who was abused by you? Why do you do this? One of the 9 red scabbard heroes who was transported from more than 20 years ago was also watching among the citizens. Let me go. Someone come to save me and kill this devil. Let him go. You be ******************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************* Tyr Momonosuke threw it on the ground. Presumably, the citizens of the Flower City all know that there was a man named Kazuki Oden more than 20 years ago. Kazuki Oden-sama. Hearing this name, the citizens who surrounded Tyr started talking one after another. Some people have veins popping up on their foreheads, while others worship and praise this name. Why are you talking about the dead person? What does this child have to do with him? This is his son, Kazuki Momonosuke. Kikunoshi, disguised as a woman, covered his mouth in the crowd and said in a deep voice, Momonosuke-sama. What? No wonder it looks familiar. What nonsense are you talking about? If it were really Momonosuke-sama, how could he still be the same as he was 20 years ago? As soon as these words came out, many citizens who lived in Kuri 20 years ago recognized Momonosuke's appearance at a glance. That's right. With that appearance and clothing, he is Momonosuke Dai. Is it true? It's a lie, right? No one in the country of Wano knows that before Momonosuke's mother died, she used the time fruit power to transport the 9 Akasaka people to this era. Of course, I don't understand why Momonosuke hasn't changed at all in more than 20 years. Then who are you? Why did you kidnap Lord Oden's son? Some warriors loyal to Oden drew their swords and rushed towards Tyr. Advertisement, Zoro. Copy that, Zoro grinned. having nothing to do and wanted to take action. Who am I? If Tyr said he was Marine, these people might panic. Almost no citizens of Wano know anything about the northern wasteland. Onigashima and Kurozumi know the information about Marine's arrival in Wano. I'm just like many of you. Teal began to stir up emotion. I witnessed the crimes committed by Kazuki Oden more than 20 years ago. Ah, what crime did Oden-sama commit? He is the faith of Wano country. UB********************. D. Wait. You are not qualified to play with him. Zoro stood in front of the warriors who rushed towards Tyr in anger. One by one, he cut them and laid them on the ground. What crime? Tell pretended to be one of them, closed his eyes and sighed. Have you forgotten the girl and wife who were kidnapped by that beast every night? Or your own wife and lover? The citizens who remained silent were deeply touched by Teal's words. Teal began to show off his acting skills. Have you forgotten? That beast harmed the lovers of many people? He does whatever he wants in the flower capital because he is the son of the general of Wano country. Have you forgotten? Your wife was forcibly abducted by Kazuki Oden and slept in his arms like a beast? As he spoke, Tyr pretended to wipe away tears and shouted. I remember. I will never forget those nights when that beast cuckolded at our citizens. Hateful. That beast. I've always held a grudge. Tell's words soon resonated with some citizens, and countless girls and wives were found in the wreckage of Kazuki Oden. That damn B******************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************* terrible things more than 20 years ago. At that time, many of us were angry and dared not speak out because he was the son of General Sukiyaki. Most of Wano country started to make noise, which made Tai couldn't believe it. How many families did Kazuki Oden bring harm to when he was young? His words actually aroused most of the national sentiment, all filled with hatred for Kazuki Oden. And that be ********** D. Sukiyaki. He did the same thing when he was young. Some old men in their 70s and 80s also came out and said that no one is willing to endure such a great opportunity. What af G beast. Teal was angry when he saw so many people. The beast. It was simply a big beast. Suddenly, veins popped up on Tyr's forehead, and his fists were clenched. Even when he lost himself and fell, he didn't become as perverted as Kazuki Oden.